Hello. We are live. We are live. We are live. So we're gonna just start waiting till some people come in. How y'all doing while we're waiting? Everybody good? Everybody all right?
Good, man.
Jossie, you had to. I swear, you was talking real normal. As soon as we go live,
Good,
down a couple.
Y'all peep that LA Lakers flag in the background.
Oh my God! Hey, Rika. Oh my goodness.
I can't see.
Lucky like.
You can see the comments. It's
Oh.
Click on comments.
Oh, okay. I was like, all I see is private chat. Ain't nobody talking in the private chat.
Jossie, have you been drinking already?
Nah, I just started.
Okay, so let's kick this thing off real good. Thank you everybody for joining Champagne Conversation. I am your host, your friend, your homie, Sequez Mitchell, and I have the fortunate opportunity to have some of the most amazing people for this topic. Jasmine Cockfield, Brandon Ward, Sheila Liddell, Dr. Brandon Ward, Dr. Sheila Liddell, and Andros Miltier. I will let them introduce themselves. I'm going to go around the room. I am, again, your host. I'm from New Orleans, Louisiana, currently living in Nashville, Tennessee. And I'm going to start from how our screen is facing. So I'll go with Jasmine, then Brandon, then Sheila, then Andros. And you guys can introduce yourself. And then also tell everybody what you're drinking. I'm drinking a strawberry Hennessy margarita. Miss Cockfield?
Wow.
Every time.
I gotta do it. I gotta do it. I mean, I am from New Orleans, right? I'm never gonna lose that. Hey y'all, this is my third or fourth one. I absolutely love this. Shout out to Sequez for continuing to host conversations. Many people know me as J Love. Now it's J Love Field. In Atlanta. Been in Atlanta now, coming up on 5 years, which is crazy. And I work in corporate America, and basically I tell the company where to give money back to deserving communities. So that's what I do. I'm gonna pass it over to Dr. Swift.
Hello, everyone. Good evening. I see my grandma's watching. Hey, grandma. She stayed tuning in.
Hey, grandma. Hey, grandma.
I am from Lake Village, Arkansas, the countryest of the country, but I love it. I go back from time to time. I'm currently located in Houston, Texas. I work in higher education, looking to make a few transitions, but that's for another time. And I am currently drinking on, where is it?
Well, why he does that, I'm sipping on red wine.
Fence.
I saw Dad's coming about it, and I had it already out. But
Uncle Nearest,
the guy that taught
very good, Sheila.
Jack Daniels how to make whiskey. So
absolutely.
And Sheila, we gonna see that face a lot tonight, so just be ready to hold it.
Great. So as we transition to me, hey everyone, I am Sheila Liddell. I am from Jackson, Mississippi. Currently living in Olive Branch, currently working in Memphis, Tennessee. And I am a pharmacist, and I'm just a legal drug dealer, I guess you could say.
Wow.
I was not prepared for that one.
Wow.
Was it? Oh, was it?
Everybody else said, so I'm just saying that. And I've had a long weekend of drinking, so I'm currently rehydrating, so I'm drinking water.
Wow. Okay. She was coming in with guns blazing. Don't do that, Brandon, because you was drinking water a couple of times after your wedding, after that wedding that you went to.
And I'm gonna throw this out there. Sheila and I are line sisters, so I just wanted to throw that out there. Just saying.
Andros,
they're one we may not have the.
Look. Andros Miltier. I'm from sunny Southern California, where it costs an arm and a leg to live. And yeah, but I work with kids. I work with not kids, but college kids. I help them write with their resumes. I help them get internships for college, and I help them figure out what they want to do post graduation. What I'm drinking on is a little Angel City, a little Angel's Envy whiskey. But I don't want to be rude. The fragrance of the evening.
Oh my god! Oh my god! Oh my god!
So, yeah,
Fragrance.
just wanted to pass it off.
What is the fragrance? I didn't hear it.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to be rude. The fragrance is Blue Day Chanel Parfum.
Okay.
Y'all, I went to, and I don't mean to interrupt, but I went to Saks Fifth and smelled this Tom Ford cologne. I'm buying it this week. It is
Amazing. It's
Man.
oh my god.
real expensive.
That sound like a Godfather recommendation.
No, Jasmine coming out the gate.
Out the gate.
They had their little meeting today, so she is there. Yeah.
I mean, you got two poli-sci majors versus
If I had a candle.
chemistry majors.
Well, what does that matter? Opinions are.
I'm just saying it matters if you have to lie. So Quaz knew what she was doing.
Tom Ford.
That's cool. I'm just here to give my opinion. And
I'm just saying. If I had a candle, I would have recommended a candle too. So
Okay, that sounds familiar.
Well, if you want a candle, Joe Malone have some fire candles. Now they are $200, $300, but they're worth.
who the hell buying a $200 candle?
You'd be surprised. Swift bought $400 cologne.
Stay on the lookout. Bath and Body Works is probably going to drop $10 candle.
Bath and Body Works is too inconsistent for me. They're too inconsistent.
I like their candle sale in December. That was
They're
popular.
too inconsistent with their products, though.
Oh, okay.
Like they burn, like the burning time, it just doesn't work for me. Okay. Well, thank you everyone for tuning in. Also, congratulations to Brandon and congratulations to Andros. Andros just got his master's degree. And Brandon is now officially Dr. Swift. So, congratulations.
Thank you.
You too.
thank y'all.
So good looking. Y'all rich now. Kendrick, I don't know what you're talking about. That ain't my ministry yet. So let's jump right into it. So everyone know that this episode is when Claire meets an Elvin. If y'all are familiar with the Cosby Show, when Claire Huxtable read Elvin his life for his misogynistic ways, right? So we're gonna kind of jump right into it as like to just discuss what was going on. So if you guys are familiar with Mr. Samuels, Kevin Samuels specifically, he is an image consultant, but he also comments on just life and like when it comes to relationships and things of that nature and what a high value man is and what high value men look for and so forth and so on, and even on women's case. And so I feel like Kevin Samuels' conversations that he's bringing to the table, I think it needs to have a further conversation outside of just what I'm trying to ignore them. What outside of just that, like outside of just the blanket state. So Kevin Samuels is not the main focus in this conversation. He's just a catalyst to a bigger conversation. So I want us to focus on the bigger conversation. The bigger conversation.
The big one.
The big one.
The big one.
Jasmine Love, Cockfield, Dr. Swift Samuels. Really? I just seen that. Woo!
It's going to be a long.
It's gonna be a long.
Oh my gosh.
So let's just jump right into it. Also, like, comment, share, please. So let's jump right into it. So I want to ask you guys a question just off rip. What do you think separates a man and a woman outside of their genetic makeup? Just outside, like what do you think separates, huh?
Mentality. Like women pay attention to detail. So they're always thinking ahead. Men are just trying to figure out for them now. Not saying that's bad. It's just you're not always thinking ahead or planning ahead like a woman is. That's just my opinion.
Okay.
I'd say emotions.
Mm-hmm.
And I saw this quote on Facebook the other day, and it was like, I don't know how men have decided to make women the more emotional creature. Because honestly, they really are the ones who are more emotional. But I would say that a woman's emotions separate her from a man. The typical woman, not every woman, right? But the typical woman, that's the biggest difference between women and men.
Uh-huh.
I actually did some reading on this a while back, and I don't mean to get academic or whatever, but I'm gonna try to bring it down to earth, right? So I think I'm gonna back off of what Sheila said though. The way we think, I think men compartmentalize the way the events that we go through and how we think. For example, if we have a bad day at work, when we off of work, we're not thinking about it no more. We at home, we relaxing, we playing a game, so on and so forth. But for women, if they have a bad day at work, it's affecting everything else. It affects them at their home. It affects what they do that night. It affects how they interact with other people. Like, it's intertwined. But for men, once we done with something, we move on to something else. Everything is connected. So I think that's two main differences between men and women.
Is that why men exercise options and women cheat? Okay, anyway, I'm sorry.
First of all,
we'll get that, Jay.
I just wanted to put that out there.
We're not there yet.
I just wanted to put that out there. I mean, he said we tend to forget, you know. So.
Can we bring it back?
Okay.
Okay. Not Jasmine. Andros, do you want to comment?
I think I agree with Swift. And I think what John, he said, a different perspectives. I think how we look at, I think how our outlook on situations differ. You know what I'm saying? And I think but I think it's not a bad thing either. It's like we look at it like women tend to look at it in more in a nurturing way. Let me improve this. Let me see how we can make this better. And sometimes guys take it. This is what it is. It is what it is. You know what I'm saying? And so let's approach it as it is what it is. Or somebody said, minute we look at it as right now. This is how it is right now. Let's approach it as it is right now. Women sometimes can approach it as let's look at it for how it can be. You know what I mean? And so that's what I think was one of the differences.
Do you think that it's just do you think that how men and women approach things are the only difference between men and women? Of how we approach situations? Or do you think there are some things that are just innately built in a man out the womb, and there are some things that are innately just inside of a woman outside the womb, and then culture cultivates it? Just how we, or is it only when it comes to how we deal with situations and experiences?
I think men are more reactionary and women are more pre-planners.
Okay, so basically again to experiences. So your difference is that men and women, how they deal with experiences.
Yeah, for sure. Like women will pre-plan a lot. And if something happens, men are like, okay, let me go fix it now, right? They're more solution oriented. Make sense?
Mm-hmm. Okay. Anybody else want to? Brandon,
I guess that has to do a lot with how we're socialized, especially growing up, the way we are taught by our parents.
Mm-hmm.
Women are taught to approach life a certain way and be a certain way, be nurturing or be the maiden of the household. Whereas with men, we're taught to be their protector and their provider. So we're not thinking about what's going on. We're thinking about how to fix the household. We're thinking about how to provide. And if something happens, we're trying to fix it along those lines. So I kind of agree with Jazz on that one. I think we're going to agree a lot tonight, but on this one, I'm going to just keep it to this point. I agree with Jazz on this one.
Oh my God. Shut up.
I mean, literally, I've known him 14 years, so.
I mean, congratulations, you want a cookie already. I mean, I feel like
Tiff treats.
Wait, I I want John to kind of expound on this comment that he made. If you could expound on that comment more in the chat, because I'm really interested in what you mean by men plan what's important to us. Or you mean us as in men, or us as men and
I
women
can see
together?
where he's going with that. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
with women, when we plan things how we want things to go, how we feel like it should go.
Mhm.
And with me, I feel like with men, there's a lack of planning because it's kind of like, and it's not a bad thing. It's just, this is the situation. This is the solution. Piggybacking when y'all say like, if something goes wrong, men just be like, okay, well, I'm just gonna adapt to that and find another solution in the moment. Women don't want that in the moment. We have to have a plan to figure it out. So, I mean, he's right, but
I agree and disagree with that. This statement right here that he just he said
Mhm.
that men gonna make sure we got our basics met.
No, I agree with him.
I know some men who are not like that. But I can see where he's coming from.
Well, for my household, right? Like Sam has always said, like when it comes to like Mother's Day gifts, mother's birthdays, things like that, right? Like y'all not gonna, that's, you know, once you get married, it's kind of like, okay, that's the wife thing to do, right? Like to be like, you know, go pre-plan the Mother's Day gift, the Christmas gifts, etc. But Sam is gonna make sure the light bill paid while I make sure that they got gifts. You see what I'm saying? So
if that works for, but also that works for your marriage.
Correct.
Some people are not structured to handle finances like that. Like some women are better at that, so they're going to make sure that. So it depends on what works for your situation. So I don't know if we can just clump it all together.
You can't.
Because it's all in my opinion, it's all situational. So
but when you're married to Dave Ramsey Jr., like I am, then it's gonna happen, right? So it is what it is.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay, so let's kind of move forward. So now that we kind of have an understanding of like how men and women think and how it is different, do you think that we are supposed to knowing that how we are built differently? Do you think that we are supposed to automatically understand how each one think?
No.
If we have been going this way and society has structured us this way, we've been raised this way, do you think that men and women should automatically know or can easily understand the opposite sex?
Should we be able to? No, like I don't think you'll be able to, because that, to me, that would mean everyone would have to be raised and taught the same things. And it would have to be in a controlled environment for everyone to then make that assumption. So like it's never going to happen because everyone's taught differently. Whereas most men may be raised and told to be the protector, and that you got some men that aren't, and they're never told that. So you can't compare the two things, in my opinion. Would it be nice to know what the other person's thinking? Yes. Do I feel like it would mess up a lot of relationships? Yeah. I think us not understanding each other helps a lot.
You think it helps? Okay. All right. Anybody else want to add to that before I move on to the topics?
I don't want to understand, man. I just want to know how to deal with them.
That's what I'm saying.
But you have men that communicate what it is we want and what we need.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I'm having a hard time understanding the question because the conversation comes up a lot.
Because I'll say this. I'm kind of piggybacking off Swift on this one, because it's like and I think this is where I feel like it can sometimes get misconstrued between the understanding of men and women. Like Swift said, like we can tell you exactly what it is that you know what I'm saying. And I think this goes back to my previous question. Like we can tell you exactly what it is right then and there, what we want and need right then and there. But I think women, y'all want the answer of what we would want like in the future, and it's like we don't want that. Like right now, we want this and this. You know what I'm saying? And I think that's where it comes to the misunderstanding or the confusion between the two parties, is because it's like, yo, like, and women tend not to say, okay, believe this is what we want, or they what we want. And when we tell them what we want and it don't add up, now we have a big clash. And it's like, why is that?
I think women try to complicate y'all simplified answers a lot. And I say this because I've done it. Like you try, if the answer literally is, what do you want for dinner? And y'all say chicken. the complication that a woman will say will be like, you want it fried, you want it baked, you want jerk, you want fish, you want like we want all the specifics and all the how you want to do it. And y'all just like it's really a basic answer, like this is it. Like there's nothing else to it. And it's hard for us, I think, as women to think that's just it.
Okay, so now that we have an understanding, right? So let's jump into Mrs. Samuels. So if women complicate things because we like details, we are detail. I would say for the most part, we're detail oriented, especially if you have a job that is really important about the details. You're even more detail oriented. Like Sheila, you're a doctor, you're a pharmacist. You have to be really detail oriented. So yours probably even more exasperated than someone who's working at Kroger. No shade if you work at Kroger. I'm just throwing it out there. So, so if we understand that they're different, we think differently, we operate differently, then why do you think why do you think there's a big clash when it comes to Mr. Samuels and his ideologies when he's just saying exactly he feels what men want? If we understand that men are very poignant to the point. Now, let me just say before you start, I gotta catch you because all y'all faces change. One, Jasmine Cockfield and Dr. Swift are pro ideologies of Mr. Samuels. Dr. Liddell and Andros are anti, air quotes, Mr. Samuels. So I want everybody to be clear. Now we about to look at Brandon. He's annoying.
And I want him to please go ahead and go first because
I'm not going first. Nope.
I'm not going first either. I want y'all side to go ahead and go because see y'all been talking about these statistics. It ain't even that deep, Mr.
Hold on, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna go first, and then I'm gonna just sit back and enjoy the show because this is about to be fun. Here's my issue is, and I've had conversations with Jazz about this. And I say this as, what I'm saying, someone who speaks publicly and all that good stuff. Sometimes it's not about what you say, it's how you say it. And that to me, that's where I think Dr. Samuels gets like a lot of, it's like, what I'm saying? Like my thing is you can say like as a minister, as a preacher, I can say something good. You know what I'm saying? I can deliver a good word to you. But if I'm, let's say like to a black crowd, if I'm sitting there monotone, this is the word and this is how you do it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, y'all not listening.
It goes above your head.
Y'all not listening. Yeah, and I see your point, John. I see your point. It's not that he will put it nice. It's just sometimes like when he says it, he's like really demeaning with it. You know what I'm saying? And I think that's when it comes to my point with Dr. Samuels. So
Are you saying Dr. Samuels? Is he a doctor?
I don't know.
No, he's not.
Okay, well,
he didn't earn that title. Okay,
I'm gonna tag in because I'm on the same mindset as bro. I've watched plenty of Samuels live. I've watched recordings on YouTube, and I'm not gonna sit here and lie and say that there are things that he says that I have not said. I agree with. But your delivery can lose your audience, and you can lose the intended person. And I feel like the way he says things, the answer could be worded differently, and it will be received differently. Because sometimes
House of Quez leaving.
Where'd she go?
It's an echo, and I'm trying to see like, is it just me? Do y'all hear it, or is it just me?
I hear it.
That's what I'm just trying to see. Like, is it me?
It's only when Sheila talks.
Let's go.
It's only when Sheila talks though.
That's because she's anti Kevin Samuels, but
that you know what? We're not gonna go there. But anyway, his intent, like I feel like the women who call into his show are his intended audience, but it goes above them when he starts demeaning them. Whether he's talking about their physicalities in a negative way, like he's not building up anyone in what he's doing. So if you're not building anyone up, you're not giving them any confidence to even put forward the effort to do what you're saying you should do or how you should think. That's why I don't like Kevin Samuels. Now go ahead with y'all statistics.
All right. So, as a woman,
one second. I'm sorry. Swiffer, do you have notes?
Yes, you know he does.
No, I don't.
Because he look like he's reading over notes. Go ahead, Jasmine. He's
lying.
No, there is literally like when we met, he was like, I'm going to pull up some statistics about the Black Queen unit, and I'm gonna do da 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 da. Okay, anyway. In regards to Kevin Samuels, right? I can understand how the delivery may be received as wrong, demeaning, or whatever. However, because we're so accustomed to people pandering to us and being nice and putting shit in a cute box, it's about time that a heterosexual, whether he is or not, right? Because that's a whole nother discussion, right? Whether he's heterosexual, homosexual, whatever he may be, he's speaking for heterosexual men. I can appreciate his directness. It's flat ass out direct. Like, it's like, if this is what you want, this is what you need to do.
Okay, but he has told a woman before she has no reason to want this type of man because she has 3 kids. What does her having 3 kids?
But that is that not factual?
Get there. No.
But is that not factual?
Wait a minute.
Go ahead.
We're going to get there. We're going to get there. Okay, Jasmine, continue what you're saying.
So as I was saying is that, okay, again, lived on the East Coast for 4 years, right? Lived in New Jersey for 4 years while I was in grad school, married a native New Yorker. I am so accustomed now to people being direct that I think that sometimes tough love goes wrong, right? And so does anybody pay attention to the fact that like Kevin Samuels is tough on men too? There are times where he went in and he called, there was this dude who called and he straight up asked the dude, do you have a big dick? I got a big dick. But do you have a big dick? And he was like, I'm 5'3", 210 pounds. And he was like, who would want to have a baby with you? Who wants to conceive with you? But nobody ever talks about his directness in regards to men because we only see the snippets that go to World Star Hip Hop or Make Facebook. And of course, his audience is Black women, right? Let's be honest. His audience is Black women. But we got to talk about the holistic perspective. And so with him being direct and not pandering like the Steve Harveys of the world, who I can't stand and I don't give a shit, then maybe you would be a little bit more receptive to it. I appreciate his directness. Kevin Samuels has opened my eyes to personal things in my own marriage. Kevin Samuels has opened my eyes to personal things in my own friendships, relationships, etc. So just being direct versus being no. And I mean, if you think it's tearing people down, that's fine. But what he's also trying to do is tell you what his clients, who are a group of men who are 6-figure salaried men, want. And if you want that, this is what they're saying. That's it.
Okay. Dr. Ward?
So Jazz pretty much hit everything on the head. A lot of the conversation we're having now, and a lot of what I'm seeing in the comments, has nothing to do with Kevin Samuels' ideology. A lot of what people see are what, like you said, the snippets from certain things he says to certain people that is not in context of the entire conversation. Because this gets the clicks, right? This gets the people to come to their page to see what Kevin Samuels is saying. No one wants to see someone pander all the time. That doesn't bring you clicks, right? Drama and mess brings clicks on social media. So that's what people take away from Kevin Samuels' conversation to these women. Now, if we get into the ideology of Kevin Samuels, what he is saying is, if you want a certain type of man, you have to be a certain type of woman. Period, point blank. And that's flipped on the other side as well. If you want a certain type of woman, you have to be a certain type of man. And he's absolutely correct. I mean, I don't know if anyone will argue with that. I don't see people argue his points or his ideology. I see people arguing how blunt he is, how he's demeaning or he's rude. All that out the window. What he is saying, his ideology, what he is trying to tell women and men, Black men and Black women, is true. And when you look at the statistics, because I did look them up, when Black women get up in age, their marriage rates decrease.
Facts. Period.
So what he is saying is not untrue. Y'all just don't like to hear it because of his bluntness or his directness or whatever else you may put in, whatever. But it's the truth. So
once you hit 35, your sexual marketplace value goes down. Period.
Goes down.
That's not debatable.
So what he's saying is true, but yeah, go ahead, Andrew.
Right. I'm gonna say this. So for all the people that are watching, what can give you, this is a little caveat. If you want a better perspective on his ideologies, watch his interview with Joe Budden.
Yep.
And his interview with Joe Budden will give you the ideology without the demeanor and without all that kind of stuff. So if you just want to hear how he thinks and why he sees the way he sees, then watch that podcast. Now,
and it's another one. Hold on, before you finish, but it's another one he just did with a woman. I haven't watched all of it. I can't remember her name. Tori.
Oh Lord, why did he come up in here? I'm sorry. Oh,
I beta all in here. Yeah, listen to the podcast where he's sitting down and talking to people. You'll definitely understand his idea.
Yeah, that's why I said, like, when it comes to ideology,
hold up. All right. So let's come.
Tasha K. That's the name. Tasha K.
Let's come back. So yes, there are, because I don't want to. I'm not going to speak on my opinion, even though it's like it's hitting me because it's not about me. But so we talk about Mr. Samuels and we talk about the things that he wants. So for the most part, let's define, because he coined the word or the phrase high value. So let's define what high value is first here in this space, so that when we continue the conversations that we are well equipped and we're only going to use that in that context.
Can I ask this question to you as a host? Are we defining high value in terms of how Kevin sees high value, or are we defining
it to talk about? Because again, it's not about this conversation is not about Kevin Samuels. This conversation is he is the gatekeeper of the conversation. So we as a collective, let's talk about what is high value. And then we're going to use some of the things that Mr. Samuels have said and see how we can come to a better understanding. Because I also want to talk about what the definition of high value, and I also want to discuss, is Mr. Samuels' conversations that he's having, is it to really gain understanding, for people to really gain understanding of how to get a high value man or whatever have you? Or is it to just start a debate and and cause like calamity? Is it really to really gain understanding, or is it just to do clicks? So I want to first define what is high value, and then let's define how to have the conversation go further. So
the definition of high value is always going to be individualized, though, because it's like what I may find high value may not be what Jasmine finds high value.
Yeah, that's why I want to have an understanding of what high value is, because we can't keep talking about high value and then Jasmine say one thing and it roots to her, and then you say another thing and it roots to you. So I want to define what high value is.
Well, on a man, like for a man, speaking of a woman, I'm like, I feel like one thing, at least for high value, is you need to have a job. Like, and not just a job that pays the bills, but something you enjoy that you do, a career. Let's say that. Let's not say job. To me, in my opinion, you should have a career.
Yeah.
Something you enjoy that you do, something that brings you joy, because we all can work, we all can have a job and just do it and just hate every minute of it. But
I think this is where my question comes in, of how are we looking at the phrase high value men, is because, like Sheila just answered, like her high value is someone that just has a career, you know what I'm saying? But to somebody else, like to me, I look at high value, if we talk about high value, like we can say like at least 6 figures like when we talk about job, you know what I'm saying? Because just because you have a career, you could be a teacher, that's a career, you know what I'm saying? And a teacher don't make 6 figures. You know what I mean?
It depends on where you are, though, Draws. That's the base.
Where you are, and then also you may find more value in the fact of how much money they're bringing home, when I might find more high value in what you're bringing home to me and stimulating me mentally and emotionally. Like, it may not, you putting a dollar amount on, like I may not put a dollar amount on.
I think that's the problem. I feel like that's a lot of the reason why there's this big ruckus and this big debate, is because people see value in different ways. So, and people emphasize value in different ways. So now my question, so how can we agree, or at least have some sort of understanding as to, in this context, Mr. Samuels defined high value as what, Jazz? I'm gonna go to Jasmine. Jasmine, define high value
in regards to men or women.
And I'm only speaking about men first, and then we're gonna move to women.
A man who is making upwards of $80,000-$90,000 a year, over six figures. A man who is either an entrepreneur or in corporate America. And he is a man who he never ever talks about like morality or whatever, but I personally would include the word value obviously is attached to it. So you have to have some type of values, right? Morals, how you conduct yourself, etc. But a high value man for him is really those brothers who are 80, 90, upwards of six figures. So, and over. And that's, I've never, now when it comes to, again, on the flip side, you're gonna go to women later, but when it comes to high value women, he talks about, you know, fit, feminine, and friendly. He talks about the FBI,
all kids,
CIA, all of that. So
let's add the medium value. I cannot. But Brandon, I'm sick of him changing his name. I'm sick of it. I'm so sick.
I love it, Swift.
I would say, and then there's the hitmen, right? So he calls those the high value men in training. So those are the men who are at 50, 60, 70,000, but their ambition is to one day reach that level. Because there are some men who are okay with making 45, 50 for the rest of their life, and they're okay with that. But there are those men who have ambitions to be high value.
Okay. All right. So now that we kind of have an understanding. We understand that high value kind of depends person to person, but for the overall is in Mr. Samuel's context. We talk about somebody who makes 80K up. I don't know how that's high value, but whatever. 80K. Sorry. 80K up. You know, all that. Okay. Cool. So do you think Mrs. Samuel's mission is to actually engage and have healthy conversation, or is it just for clicks? Do you honestly help the community, or is it for clicks?
Healthy conversation.
I can agree with her because I do feel like with the one who call in who gets dragged, sometimes they know that they're going to get dragged. Some of those women, I do think they call in just to be funny. So I can appreciate because there's some that I've seen that they're calling in and they're playing dumb and they're doing the things they have seen him hang up on people or get rude with people before. They're still doing it. So when he gets short with you, it's like I was able to just have a 2-second conversation with him and I got a clip.
Yeah.
But there are some women that are actually trying to get a real conversation out of him and his thoughts.
But I was gonna say he's had those great conversations with women that were helping to them. They just don't get put out there, right? You have to watch the shows and actually see that he's having healthy conversations with men and women, but speaking about women. And he's giving them dialogue to help them become a better them to attract who they want to attract. It's just when the conversations goes to the left because they say certain things or both of them get rude, whatever the case may be. But he does have healthy dialogue with women. I don't want that to get lost in translation.
I do think that he had. I forced myself to watch his shows on YouTube, and I think a lot of the comments, the things that he said, do relate. But I also outside, I don't really care about his delivery. I mean, delivery does matter, but even some of the things that he talks about, I just don't agree with. Where we can, and let's go a little bit further. Like I think there is a problem. I think it is problematic that he do use statistics, but he does not give context to statistics. I do think it's a problem when you just give face value statistics, but you don't do root cause analysis. And so when you talk about when you prove a point based on Black women, he's talked about that men know that nobody is going to come and save them. You know, women are always, Black women specifically, are always expecting some sort of savior. So that's why you see there are more Black women on governmental assistance than Black men. That is what he said. So my question is like, okay, that may be true. However, the reason why that more Black women are on governmental assistance is because most likely Black women are having the kids that needs to have the governmental assistance because possibly the father is not there to assist in the living situation. So I just feel like it's problematic to give statistics when you don't give context. Those are my problem areas, because we can have a healthy conversation, a healthy dialogue, but if we're not going to be honest in those true conversations, then what is the point?
And I can I feel you on that point, because I was looking at statistics today preparing for the show, as y'all may know. And one of the larger things that jumped out at me is when I was looking at Black marriage rates and statistics, it started going down around the time that Ronald Reagan passed his drug policy, and when incarceration rates started to go up. So you're starting to see the deflation of marriage rates between the Black community. As you see incarceration rates of Black men go up. So they had a direct impact on the Black family, which could contribute to Black women being on government assistance, because there's no men, to be there in the household. So I get that point, and I kind of agree with it. But the statistics are still true. Like we still
it may be true, but you can't just put out. It gives me Donald Trump vibes. We can't just put out context, and we can't just put out statistics and don't give context as to what. It's I just feel like that's a dangerous space to play in. If you're going to throw out a statistic, because we can all use statistics to support our argument. The same
I don't anticipate Kevin Samuels being able to, well, let me take that back, because he's very well read and very well spoken. So he knows what he's talking about, and he can do that deep dive. But in the context of his show, I think that he uses the statistics in the manner that he wants to use them, and it's up to you to anticipate to go and look them up and look them up for yourself. But what he's saying is true, right?
Well, if you say that's what you said, I agree, I understand, but I think that's problematic. If you're saying, if you're just going to spew out a statistic, and I feel like, where's the responsibility? If you the audience that you have such a massive audience, and you're just spewing out a statistic, how many people at that percentage will actually go back and do the research like a Dr. Ward to see what the real statistic is?
That's not that type of show. I don't want to defend him by no means, but that's not the show. And I think I feel what you're saying, and that is something needed. But even though that's not your audience that's going to go back and find that information, he's still not wrong when he says it, because that's not his show. It's not a show to do an analysis. Like, that's not what it's about.
No, it's not. I do think that there has to be some level of accountability and responsibility. Like, if you're trying to really, quote unquote, change how women approach relationships and like being mindful of what they're doing, if you're really trying to give help, which I really do think that he's trying to be like, yo, I'm putting you on game, even though it may come off harsh, it may come off rude or disrespectful. If you're really on that type of tip, for real, and you have an audience of that mass number, and you are setting the wave of like how people are interacting nowadays, I do think there should be a level of responsibility as to how you present your message. That's just me.
I'm a kind of push back, because if he's saying that,
always push back, that's fine.
Always, but if he's saying that 50-something% of African American women are on government assistance, this is what you need to do not to be on government assistance and attract the type of man that you want.
He didn't say that though. That's not the context how he said it.
But I'm just using it as an example. That's the direction he goes.
But that's not the context which he said it.
You might need to move on.
He said it in the context of Black women are used to, not Black women specifically, but let's talk about women, are used to having someone to save them. And that's when he did not use that in the context of what you're talking about. I think context also matters. But moving forward. So Jasmine, I want to bring it to you. You talk about a high value man in training, right? So when you talk about that, what does that look like for you when say you was not married, right? There was no Sam. Is a high value man in training something that you actually be looking for if you're well established in your career?
Correct, because it's ambition. A high value man in training has ambition, right? So typically that means that's the brother who is either entry level in corporate America or possibly at middle level management, but trying to go to upper level, trying to get to the C-suite, as an example. to me, a high value man in training means that there is ambition to become a high value man.
Brandon, can you send a link to T?
Sequez.
I did it. I said it.
About you.
Okay. So Sheila,
Mm-hmm.
what is your biggest outside of Mr. Samuel's conversation, outside of how he talks to women? What other issue? What is that the only issue that you have with Mr. Samuels?
I understand where Jazz and Swift is on what he says is right, but I have a major problem at the way he comes at women who have children as if it's such a negative thing for them to aspire to want to find a high value man. That I have a problem with him because one, women don't have kids by themselves, and two, why does that have to be negative? And I'm willing to see if he has a show where he's talking to a man who's a dad and he got kids and they stay with him, and if he give them the same fever that he gives women when they say, I want a man that makes $100,000. Well, how many kids you got? 3. Oh, you're not gonna get them. And that's it. It's like,
but is it not a fact?
No, it's not.
Let's be completely 100% real, right? Like I'm not gonna sit here and BS with the crap, right? Like I'm not disrespecting you, Sheila, right? I'm talking about in general. If a woman has 3 kids by 3 different baby daddies,
you just added an element there. You added an element. That's a whole other 3 kids and 3 kids with 3 different baby daddies, 2 different things.
Okay, 3 kids from a divorce.
3 kids with 3 different baby moms. Like
three kids from a divorced marriage, and she probably can, right? Let's be honest, right? But if she has 3 kids by 3 different baby daddies, is that C-suite executive? I hate to keep using it as an example, but somebody who is making upwards of $300,000-$400,000 a year, and he is a single black man, is he really gonna say, let me go wife up somebody who has 3 kids by 3 different baby daddies who's 34 years old?
No, but you're giving a whole different piece that's not given.
Well, let's don't
even get the far of how many kids daddy you have.
Hold on.
Right.
They don't get that deep.
Right.
Hold on. Let me jump in.
I do agree with you. If it got that deep, I would never expect a man to be like, I'm okay with having this high-ranking job in corporate America, and here's my girlfriend, a wife with 3 different it's a lot of mess. I ain't gonna see no man doing it. But it don't go.
The comment section is hilarious. I'm sorry. But okay, so we're saying that. Go ahead, Brandon. Go ahead, and then we're gonna jump to T.
So I'm not gonna get on that side. I'm gonna go on the other side.
Okay.
How many black men in America are there that make 100 figures, 200 figures, and up?
Correct.
How many single black women are there in America between the ages of 25 and 40? How many of these women are looking for a single black man who make upward 6 figures?
Correct.
Look at the numbers, look at the statistics. This man he has his choices, right? He can pretty much go out to a mall or to a Target or whatever and get what he wants, right? Because he's a high value man. What Kevin Samuels is saying is, why would this man choose someone who is 30, 35, whatever, with 1 kid, 2 kids, 3 kids, when he can choose this 27, 28-year-old who has no kids, who looks better than you?
Mm-hmm.
And no emotional trauma.
Don't
Correct.
start.
Thank you, T. Thank you.
Okay,
No emotional trauma.
But it's a truth. And when you look at the statistics,
there's an abundance of women where there is not an abundance of men. That's fact. It's men can do that because there's going to always be more of the women in that caliber that he does not have to go to the woman.
It's more women, period. But once you get to the men, the number even goes down even lower, the more they start making money, right? So why would he choose someone with kids or 1 kid? Why would he choose someone with no kids who was a 5 or a 6?
Okay, let me. T, you wanted to join the conversation. Welcome, T.
Yeah.
This is your 10%. This is your 10%. So
was this a special guest request?
Huh?
Was this the special guest?
Okay. So go ahead, T. What you want to add to the conversation?
First of all, it's 15% now since I done made my appearance. Let's go ahead and get that out the way, you know. But I think people just haven't had a chance to hear the man's side. You know what I'm saying? We always have to watch what we say, coddle what we say, and you know, when we at work, we have to, you know, tone it down. When we in our house with our old lady, we gotta tone it down. Only time you'll probably hear a man really speak how he want to speak is at a barbershop. You know what I'm saying? And so that's the thing. Kevin Samuels is bringing this to the forefront. He bringing it to the public, and y'all never have heard men real conversations because we never talk like that in front of y'all. You know what I'm saying? So it's all a shock now. Like, oh my God, I can't believe I can have any man I want to. No, you can't. You can't have any man you want to. You ain't going.
You can't.
You know what I'm saying? Honestly. You know what I'm saying? So then it's like, okay, well, why I can't have a man? I'm a good person or whatever. But okay, you a good person, but maybe you messed up in your younger years having a baby by a nigga that didn't marry you. Or maybe you got divorced, which is understandable. You know what I'm saying? I get that. But again, a man wants his own legacy, especially a man that makes the amount of money that these women are trying to get. And the thing that I hate about it with Kevin is Kevin always telling women to get you a regular dude, get you a nice guy that works hard. You know what I'm saying? But it's like people don't. You
go get your oil changed. That mechanic is 9 times out of 10 gonna be flirting with you.
And he's gonna be
talking about. Okay, so let's go a little bit the next way. So does it change if the man has the 3 kids by 2 different baby mamas?
No,
and makes $200,000 a year.
It stays the same. It stays the same. It stays the same because it's still the fact of that there are 3 kids involved, whether it's 2 different baby mamas, 1 or whatever. Okay. Now, again, Kevin always talks about this. He says a divorcee, whether man or woman, there's a better chance. But if you've had 3 kids by 3 different folks, whether you're man or woman, your value then in regards to like where you stand for where somebody of $200,000 or more then goes down. This is just, it's not good information. People are not going to like it, but it's the real. It is what it is. Like it ain't changing.
So do you think that, so when you said that it doesn't change, are you saying that the value of the man does lessen if he has 2 or 3 kids, but still make over $200K? Or does
it still lessens.
See, I
would say this. I think I kind of know where I think I hate to say it like this. I think women are more acceptable or accepting of it than men are.
I 100% agree.
I definitely, I really think men.
A woman would definitely date a man with 3 kids.
And that's why I feel like, and I think this is where I would have to disagree.
It may not be ideal, but she will wholeheartedly be like, okay, man.
She will bite the bullet, bite her leg.
Yep, and I think that's where, that part differentiates, because as a man, like T said,
he's not putting up with that.
You're not.
Yeah, we're not like, no, I'm not.
Is it okay? Now we understand how men think, right? Like we have an understanding of like how men think. Do you feel that it's morally right?
But I see, and even to answer that question, I think it goes back to what I was saying originally when you asked me what is the difference between men and women. And I think how I was saying, like, women look at it for what it can be, and men look at it for what it is right now. You know what I'm saying? And so even in that situation, when we're looking at it, like a man is like, right now, like, you got 3 kids, I'm good. Like, you know what I'm saying? And like a woman looks at it from a standpoint of like, okay, like he got 3 kids, he's raising them, That means he's a good father. He got a nice. That means he got a job. He's taking care of them. So that possibly means he can be a good husband. You know what I'm saying? And so I think that's where that whole that part.
I think I agree with Dross in that. Now, when you talk about the moral piece of it,
that's where I'm at. I'm not on the moral side.
So people in the comments are talking about the money aspect. Let's take the money aspect out of this. Morally, a lot of the stuff that Kevin Samuel says is not right. Period. Realistically, though, it's a fact.
Stop rolling your eyes. It looks real weird. Literally like that. I was talking to Brandon. He's rolling his eyes. Oh, it's real weird.
No, it's like morally. Again, he says stuff like men who step out, men who have again, we talked about that exercising their options. Biblically, morally, no matter if you're a Christian or not, it's wrong. Flat out, it's wrong.
Yeah.
Does it happen?
All the time.
Yes.
It's wrong. It's wrong, but it's acceptable.
Acceptable for who? It depends on the woman.
No, it's acceptable. I'm talking about in society purposes.
Oh, yeah, in society.
I'm wrong, but it's acceptable
over here. Oh, no, we don't play that shit over here. No. But
it's wrong.
In society, it's acceptable.
Okay, and so let's look at the comments. I saw a couple of comments, and I feel like a lot
of people are talking about money, and I'm like, unfortunately, that's where society is.
So what if the woman makes $200K and has three kids by 3 different baby fathers? Does her value, and she's ambitious, and does her value diminish?
How she have time?
Her value diminishes.
Is what? Does her value diminish?
Her value diminish. If she still has all of, she's fit, she's friendly, she's cooperative, but she just doesn't have the no kids part. She has
value really down in society.
And they range from the age of 12 to 16. I don't know.
Here's the thing. It's men are not gonna say this, but it's that ego, right? So let's be honest, right? It's the ego. It's the fact that, like, when he get with his boys, they gonna talk about it. They gonna be like, oh wait, so your girl had how many kids? Oh wow, like she didn't open her womb to how many men?
Yes.
If they want a woman to be like the person who they want to conceive their child with, they want that womb to be only their womb. It's a fact. It's not fair. It's not right.
But it's
that ego. And you talk about moral, ego means edging God out. So it is what it is, right? Like it's ego.
Y'all 3 men can sit here and say all day that it's not, but literally, if the picture don't look good to say to somebody, if it doesn't check all these boxes of what society looks to be like great, it bothers y'all, and it's gonna always bother y'all.
I'm trying to figure out what Amira is talking about when she keeps talking about abortion. I'm really confused.
I'm not gonna say that.
I'm really confused on that.
I'm not gonna say that word. Nor bring it up.
Yeah. I don't know where abortion
is pregnant or something.
That's a real sensitive topic. Like,
I think she meant.
Don't even bring it up. Don't even bring it up. Let's go.
Yeah, don't do that, please. Don't. Like, Amira, we love you, but that's real.
I'm really confused.
I'll ask about it later.
Yeah, Amira, how can I mention? Because I'm really curious with that. What do you mean by that? So we talked about. So you know that it's not okay, but it's acceptable. So is it just because it's acceptable? Is that like are we supposed to just play along with that? Like, okay, even though men have this thought process, are women supposed to just align to that because that's what men want? Or do women set the standard of like, this is who I am, this is what it is, and if you don't rock with that, then that's what's up. And if you do rock with that, that's what's up.
And that's the thing.
Go ahead, D.
I was gonna say that's the thing that Kevin Samuels is saying. If you want a man, this is how we think, and this is what you should do to get the man that you're trying to get. If you don't want a man, don't listen to him.
Okay, are we saying a man? Stop. Are we saying a man? Or are we saying a high value
man? Because I think Kevin. I'm with Kevin. I was telling Kevin only speaks for one one
Right.
category of
I'm
me.
really interested, like
Not
all the
the
men that's
basic
talking
regular
about and echoing Kevin Samuels saying they're hot about high value men, and they don't even meet the criteria.
Right, he's
Boy,
like,
you
Correct.
barely
And the thing is that he checks them when they call into the show, right? Like he checks them pretty
he does
often,
check them out.
but nobody talks about that, right? Like so. And I agree with you.
I'm gonna have to push back on you on that, Jasmine, because I have watched his stuff, and I do think that he brings it up, but he does not go hard as he does on the women. I have to unequivocally go against you on that.
But
100%.
correct. I will agree with you that he does. It's obviously more women who call in. Let's be honest.
But
So it's not gonna be
the conversation. He does not go. The penis thing that everybody keep bringing up as that part. That is far in between of how he go hard at women. It is not.
But he doesn't always.
But here's the thing, though. There's no one who, besides, like even Ayanna Van Zant, that article that I sent you, right? That we talked about briefly. Even Ayanna has said one of the reasons she stopped her show was because she had to pull back from a lot of the things that were happening with Black women. So when I say this, right, I'm not antagonizing Black women. I'm a Black woman, right? But there has been no one, like T said, men do this stuff in the barbershop, right? That's one of the reasons they don't want us to go to the barbershop. Mm-hmm. It's because they're able to have these 100% transparent conversations, mm-hmm. and their barber be their therapist, and they say flat out what it is. Now,
how would you go to a therapist and not let your barber be your therapist?
What?
Go to an
therapist. Black men go to therapy. Their barber is their therapist.
That's stupid. But go
ahead. Therapist, a barber is like $20.
That's stupid just because women do the same thing when they go get their hair done. Yeah. They'll sit up there and listen to their hairstylists who ain't got no man, got kids.
I go to therapy. And shout out to therapy. Black people should go to therapy. 100%. I agree. I go to therapy. My
going to the barber because women literally will go to a woman that has none of the problems that she's having and take their advice. And as a woman, I'd be like, "Why are you doing that? Like this?
What's just done?"
Well, once again, haircuts are $20. How much is a therapist?
Well, if you have
$25 an hour.
Listen, the difference between men and women is because you saying Kevin Samuel don't go hard on the men, he go way harder on the men.
That's a lie, and you know it, T. I'm gonna put you on you for lying. I'm gonna put you on you for lying. That's not true, T, and you know it.
He tried to mince his words when he talking to the women. He always try to be respectful when he talks to the women until it goes left. With the men, he's straightforward. the difference is, hold on. The difference
don't even be on the phone but 5 seconds and he hanging up in the phone.
No. The difference is when he tell men something, we listen, we accept it, and we move on. That's the difference. The women always want to push back and not accept.
I agree to that. What up, Marcus? Hold on. What up, Marcus?
What up, Marcus? What up?
Marcus is joining the conversation. I had a conversation with Marcus, well, really with his wife, and then Marcus kind of just brought it all together. So it was like Marcus jumped in. So Marcus, jump in the conversation where you see fit. Marcus has an interesting perspective, but I think it's kind of like a balance. So Marcus, just jump in where you fit in. But go ahead, T.
I mean, I was just saying, like, men accept the accountability. Like, we accept what he's saying. We like, you know what I'm saying? He been telling men straight up, get you some more money, step your game up, quit messing with all these women. You know what I'm saying? He been saying all of that for years. But when he talk to the women, y'all always try to push
accepting. Or do men just be like, all right, bet, and they just dismiss it? And
are men held accountable? Like, are men really held accountable?
Accepting means you're listening and you're gonna do. You don't always do. You can just be like, oh, okay, yeah, cool, and you're done with it.
But they're still not giving pushback though. They're still.
That's what I'm saying. It's not. They're accepting, but it ain't pushback.
Listen.
Accepting to me means you're actually listening. You're
Trust
gonna
me on this, Sheila.
Yo,
Here for
Sheila
me.
is on it tonight, and I am here for all the smoke.
Okay, all right. Can I give my story that I wanted to share?
Go ahead.
Well, I just want to say one statement before you hit the story. Damn, you made me lose it, but
use accepting.
damn, I lost it. Never mind. Damn, it was
I will
good.
accept it. Go ahead.
Go ahead, Jasmine.
Okay. All right, cool. So a couple of years ago, one of my friends in Birmingham, Alabama, who had gone to Hampton for college, right? He had just gotten his MBA. He was making upwards of $90,000 to $100,000 a year. He had been dating this young lady from Hampton for about 5 years, going to 6 years. And I was in a conversation with him, and I'll not say his name, but I was in a conversation with him, and I was like, when are you going to propose to her? Like, what are you waiting on, right? Like, what's the problem? What's taking so long? If you've been with her 6 years, let's do this. He literally told me, he was like, in confidence, Jazz, but to be real, where's she going? And he was like, I can go to the grocery store tomorrow and meet another one of her. But where's she gonna find upwards of 100,000, a heterosexual black male who's got 2 degrees? Where's she going? And unfortunately, as sad as it is, where's she going?
Okay, well, my question to that story, because I've heard that happen before too, is so he's intentionally gonna stay with somebody but not gonna marry them?
No, so he ended up marrying her like 2 years later, right? Let's be honest, right? He ended up proposing 2 years after that. But he was still playing the field, still doing, his thing. But he was just like, as a black man who's heterosexual, right? Who's making upwards of $100,000 a year with 2 degrees, where is she going to find another me? Anytime soon, at her age at that point, 26, 27, whatever they were.
But is that cool though?
It's not cool.
Okay, so why are we not forcing back a stand?
Because men have become the prize, unfortunately.
And that's the problem. Marcus, you want to? I know we've talked about this a little bit, so I'm waiting for you to sit with your pieces. We already kind of talked about it yesterday. Marcus, what do you think about Jasmine's story?
That's real life. That's what I was trying to tell you yesterday. It was like I heard, I think it was Swift said earlier, like a man making that much kind of money, he can pick whoever he want to pick. So, why do I have to settle for any other woman than the one I particularly want? I don't have to. There's not a lot of men that make 100, 150K, 200K. Not a lot of black men. You know what I'm saying? Your typical black man, heterosexual, like Jazz said. It's not a lot of us that do that. So, that's real life. It's not a good way of thinking. I don't agree with that way of thinking. You know what I'm saying? But it's a lot of men like that.
So are you honest in that conversation? If you know that who you are and know what you have to offer, are you honest in those conversations to where you're saying this is where I am, I'm enjoying life, I'm making money, I'm moving the way I move? Why be in a relationship if you know that the other person wants marriage and you're just not there yet because you just want to do your thing? Why not have that conversation?
That's up to the woman at that point. In my opinion, if a man is honest about that, he's not.
No, I'm saying he's not telling her exactly.
Oh, if he's
what
not
she
telling
wants.
her,
Because Jasmine said that where's she going? So obviously she don't.
Okay,
she don't know that.
So no, here's the thing, right? What he was trying to say is, right, like, of course she could leave today, tomorrow, whatever, right? That's her personal choice.
Yeah.
But what he was saying is that because I make upwards of $100,000 a year, I'm a black heterosexual male, 2 degrees, I have my own house, I'm gonna move her in once I do propose. He pretty much was saying the pickings are so slim of what I am. Why would I rush to do something that I know I'm not ready for just yet? Because she's not going nowhere. Because
so
she
why not just play the field until you
that
want
he's a high value man.
I don't see nothing wrong with what he. I don't honestly don't see anything wrong with what he's doing. But why not just communicate that and don't let her waste her youth, as you say, Jasmine?
Correct.
Like, why not just communicate?
I put my husband on a deadline. Like it was straight up with me. I'm be honest. I put him on a deadline. Like either you propose to me by this or I'm out. It is what it is.
Sam saw it.
That works for you. A lot of women that don't work for. Men do not like to be told what to do like that. So I don't.
Yeah, he might be telling the truth, but he do sound like a fuck boy.
You sound like a what?
F boy.
Oh no.
So he didn't tell her this? Like he didn't tell her?
No, so he of course he didn't. Of course he didn't tell that. He was still trying to holler at one of my friends, go to the strip club regularly, whatever, but she was there straggling along because she knew at some point he was gonna propose or whatever, but she was waiting.
So again, I say that is her fault. If she knew the nigga was doing whatever he was doing, and because he make 100,000, I'ma stay. That's her fault. That's her fault.
Let's talk about this real quick. So Jasmine and Brandon and I was on the phone, and they presented a scenario to me, and I want to hear from the comment section of this scenario. They presented a scenario, and I think it was Jasmine who presented it, or Brandon. I don't remember which one. They asked me if you met a man and he was making $60,000 a year. Okay, like I think it was like 60K. Can y'all hear? It's like, do y'all hear like noise? Is that T?
Yeah. TV herself.
Okay, I think that's.
It's Liddell.
Okay.
No, it's not.
It's T. I think it was T.
It was T. Don't do that.
Who it is?
Yeah, I hear it too.
Is it you, Dr. Liddell? I'm gonna see if you put you on me. 1 second. Okay. I don't hear it. I don't hear it. So, question. So, I was on the phone with Jasmine and Brandon, and we was talking and was saying one guy makes 60K a year, but he's super nice, kind, all his good attributes, and he wants to marry you. And Bill Gates come along, and he wants to marry you. They asked me, which one would you choose?
I asked that question.
That was Brandon. I struggled, and I was like, I probably will go with the dude that made 60K. And Brandon said, get the F off my line, you're lying. Now, I don't understand. First of all, and then I said, well, can we add somebody like Robert Smith? Jasmine made me remember his name. But like Robert Smith, somebody who actually give back to the community, like, that actually like really rocks with the Black community, whatever. And then my answer may have changed a little bit. But I'm trying to, I want to know which Cap. No.
Thank you, husband.
Post that went pinned there to the screen.
All Cap.
Hold up, let me talk, because I didn't talk while y'all was talking. Hold on. So just because a person is a billionaire, you telling me that you would commit your life to someone just off of monetary?
I wouldn't.
Real talk. And if you walk out, I feel like you're easily bought. Period.
You walk out, Brandon. I would not.
I would pick the 60.
If you tell me,
I would pick the 60, and this is my rationale in it. I would pick the 60. All right, so
if the 60K guy has everything that you want, but then old boy comes in billionaire status, questionable morals, because I mean it's not like Bill Gates do a lot of things for like whatever. Questionable, but he comes along because he's a billionaire status. Would you go for the guy who has 60K that has all the qualities and attributes that you want, or do you go to Bill Gates?
Okay, I said
audience as well.
I would go for the 60K it's simple things. One, someone that's making all that money, ain't really home. You're always doing something. Always doing something. Some people, quality time is a more important thing too. I don't need the money because I don't live that lifestyle now that of $1 million. I don't, and that's just me.
No, I'm looking at the comments.
And Bill Gates really ain't a good example because of what's going on with his crap right now. But that's just who I am. I would want quality time. I want all the guarantees that I can have in a man. If I'm mentally happy and I'm mentally stimulated, I don't see the problem. And I don't live the lifestyle of a millionaire now. So why do I need the money now?
Okay.
Hold on. Before you
on.
go, T and Andros, let me chime in because I asked the question.
He did ask the question. Go ahead, Swift.
So I asked these women, and this is where the mode of thinking comes in. If you could marry Bill Gates, the richest man in America, or someone that made $60,000, who would you choose? And they said, and you see in the comments, they're saying $60K. If Bill Gates gives you the time and the availability to marry him,
You did not say that. You did not say that.
Because I didn't have to. But if he does, he's more than likely gonna give you a contract and say, as long as you don't do this, and this, you can see whoever you want to. You can do whatever you want to. You can be happy, as long as you don't embarrass me. And what I see on social media is when women say they want a certain type of man, what's usually some of the first, second, or third things that they say?
Money. You're right.
That is
now y'all saying that y'all would not choose the richest man in America in the world.
But
I
hey,
just think that go ahead, Marcus.
Like I was saying yesterday, the shit is situational. The amount of women who would choose the 60K does not outnumber the women that's choosing.
Thank you,
money.
Marcus. Thank you, Marcus.
Thank you. No. The question was asked to me.
So you personally,
and they said that I was capped. The question was asked to me.
So we can't say you capped. That's your preference.
Thank you.
But the majority, I don't think you're the majority though.
No,
I know I'm not the majority. Ain't nothing majority about me.
I really can't see Bill Gates walking up to y'all and saying, "I want to be in a relationship with you," and you saying no.
I can say.
I just feel like that means that you don't know me.
It depends on the woman, bro.
Listen, that $60,000 a year get ate up quick.
But okay, so
I'm not playing with you. I'm sorry.
This is the thing, though. If you're talking about that, you just said earlier that you would definitely date a man, a high value man.
Correct.
So who said that the 60K man cannot be a Bill Gates in training? So but you're saying that you will automatically go to the Bill Gates when you have potential right there.
Well, what age am I? What age am I?
You didn't talk about your age.
No,
this not you're trying to ask.
No, I'm not trying to ask stuff. I'm being honest. If I was 23 years old, I'm looking at the high value man in training, right? I'm 31 years old in corporate America doing my own damn thing on my own damn time. I'm looking for the fucking millionaire. Point blank, period. I ain't changing that.
I mean, I'm 30.
That's cute for you. That's cute for you. And that's cute for everybody else who agree or disagree. But at the end of the day, like we say, just like we always say, black people are not monolithic. Black men are not monolithic. Black women, me personally, I'm going to be set regardless. If you know me or not, you know. In my near future. So for me personally, that's questionable.
But you being set with your money and you being set with Bill Gates' money is two different types of sets. Because not only
Jam, the first thing Jammin just said, I'm talking about private school. So you're looking at it as the things that I have and I want to be able to do.
Correct.
I won't be able to do with a $60,000. I believe in public school. So that's not, but it's different. It's the difference. It's the difference of how we were brought up, the difference of what we see. So I'm not going to need to think about the fact, I need extra money to send my child here. Or I need extra money to do this, that, and the other. I was raised this way. I was okay with raising this way. I like how like where I ended up, I can deal with it. And I'm saying that as someone that with what I make, plus that 60,000 would be comfortable enough for me.
Does money why does money like make a man high value though? Is that the only
that's a good question.
Is that the only criteria?
No, it's not.
It's part of the it's the main part of the criteria.
I feel like that's the only.
You said it's the main part?
It's definitely a huge part of the criteria. According to what we discussed earlier, it definitely is a person who's making over 80K.
That are good men that are 40,000 a year.
And ain't nothing wrong with that.
But that's according to what we discussed earlier. That is not that. What?
And I want to address this comment because Fatima said most men think they want a 6-figure woman until they get one and realize she ain't gonna be able to do all the stuff they be wanting. Me, I don't hear men say they want a 6-figure woman.
I've never heard a man say that. Never heard a man say that.
Never.
Hey, but the 6-figure women not looking at a man that's not 6 figures as well.
That too.
Marcus said this
Very
earlier.
true.
I disagree. I just really
The
disagree.
quiz, you're not looking at the nigga changing your oil at Walmart if you're
You
making
not.
100,000.
You not.
You don't know that because you're not women. You're not
Most women
woman
not.
to say that.
Most
You're
women
not
not.
a woman.
I have
No,
a
you're
question.
not a
Women.
woman to say that. I know a lot of.
I know I'm not supposed to be on the show, but I'm
You're not.
to listen.
You're not
and
supposed to be
Marcus is
here.
supposed to be on the show. Why is the focus all about money? If we list like 5 different things for a high value man, why is the only focus being on money? So if I'm not making 80,000 to 90,000, like Jazz said, or up, but I possess the other qualities, am I not a high value man because I don't have the money?
Correct.
Swift.
That's crazy. For real, that's
Because a lot of
It's true.
But that's also Kevin Samuel's ideal.
That just means you're a good guy. That means you're a good guy, an average guy. It's okay
That's
to be
it.
average.
But
Everybody,
There's nothing wrong with it.
right? It's nothing wrong with being
Bro,
average.
a lot of men that make that kind of money are trash individuals, bro.
Okay, well, let me ask. Can I ask a question about art? If we're saying money is the only thing that makes you a high value man, as
We're not.
well as
That's
It's
value
not the
woman.
only thing. It's not the only thing.
Not
But
the
if
only
you
thing.
don't
Okay,
have it, you're
main
not.
thing. Main thing.
Hold on.
When you sit and think about yourself, what kind of person do you consider yourself to be? Do you consider yourself to be a high value man and or woman, or or medium value? We see with Swift. Like, where do you find yourself? Because I would sit up here and say, like, when he tells the woman they call in, like, rank yourself between 1 and 10, you can't use 7, and you rank yourself hella high, and he don't think you that high. you say you an 8, he be like, Beyonce an 8. You know you Beyonce, so you be like, well, you right. I'm probably a 5. I think I'm a high value woman. Other people may not. That's still a different. That's what you believe.
Question:
And-
What makes you a high value woman though?
Money wise, if we start with the
Money don't count because men don't care about money. We don't care about money.
So what? Okay, wait, stop, T. So Brandon, since you're a pro Kevin Samuels, what is the criteria for a high value woman?
So let me start here. And T gonna have my back.
No, we're not. Don't try to have this T.
No. I'm gonna start here. I'm gonna
No,
start
T
with
is not on
addressing.
nobody's team, and neither is Marcus.
I'm gonna start with addressing
Y'all ain't
Sheila's comment.
Yo, I'm sorry, real quick. Since we bringing in husbands, can I bring in mine?
But say him to leave.
Bringing them up.
Man, y'all know.
Oh, okay.
Go ahead, Swill.
Go ahead, Marcus. I mean, sorry, Swift.
So Kevin Samuels asked women, "Where do you rate yourself? 8, 1 to 10, can't use 7." And someone says an 8.
They did. Now
Kevin Samuel says you are not an 8. He's not saying that you shouldn't think you are not an 8. He's saying the men that you want are not going to see you as an 8. There's two totally different ideas.
I watched that episode. He did not say it like that. Like the
He didn't say it like that, but that's maybe what he
said. You're not an 8.
Hold on. I'm not talking about a specific situation. I'm talking about overall.
I get you.
Overall, that's what he's trying to say.
Okay.
Overall, he's saying
The episodes I've watched him say use the numbers. I ain't heard him say that.
But that's the ideology behind
I've
it.
been drinking water and I don't understand how.
That's the ideology behind it. You are not what you may be what you think you are, but the men you are trying to attract don't see you that way. And this is what you need to get to. This is what you need to do to get the man you're trying to attract. The question was, Sequoia asked, what is a high value woman? Right? That's the question.
Yeah, that's the next question. What is a high value woman?
So
According to Kevin Samuels,
I guess
according to Kevin, Mr. Samuels,
Mhm.
what is a high value woman? And then I want to hear the men. I want to hear Drosy, T, Marcus, Brandon. I want y'all to tell me what's a high value woman to you.
to me,
But go ahead with the baby. Listen, go ahead with the definition, please.
I can't recall the specifics with a high value woman with Kevin Samuels. But
Jasmine, do you remember?
She's supportive. She's attractive. She's taking care of the home.
She's feminine. She's beautiful. She's intelligent. She's fit. She's feminine. She's friendly.
I have not heard him use the word intelligent, but I did hear him say
He called him
So
FBI.
he said,
Called him
shout out to
FBI.
the FBI. At the very
He called him
beginning of his
FBI.
episodes, he
Mhm.
said,
And she's
feminine,
kind.
beautiful, intelligent.
Right.
Yeah.
And I know he also said he is
CIA.
she is not competitive, not complimentary. What's the word?
Cooperative.
Cooperative. Thank you
Yeah.
so much. Cooperative. Okay, so Brandon, Brandon, go ahead, continue.
I forget what I was saying.
You were talking about the high value woman.
Yeah, but basically she's supportive. She's taking care of the home. She's fit. She's attractive. She's in his corner, but she's basically that helpmate. He's taking care of all the major priorities, and she is there to support him, whatever that looks like.
Okay.
But she's
Now-
also attractive and everything else too. All of it. But in a nutshell, that's what she is.
Okay, so that is the 1 second, Jossie. That is the definition of a high value woman according to Mrs. Samuels. Now I want to hear from Dr. Ward, Mr. Andros, and Marcus and T. What is your high value woman? When you're trying to spit game at a young lady over there, what is your definition of a high value woman? I'm gonna start with Marcus. What's the definition? And I know Tristy right there, so don't get hit. I'm just
No, he can't get hit.
Nah, I mean, I'm a simple dude. Shit, I mean, of course, attractive. She can't be too, like we was talking about yesterday, masculine. I like softer women, feminine women. I don't really care about how much money she make. I feel like a man should be able to take care of himself and the woman, if you know what I'm saying, if he chooses to get one. Money not really important. Definitely cooperative, I would say. Willing to listen, being able to be led, and also being able to correct when a man is in error, but do it, in a feminine way, not talk down to me, not belittle me. You know what I'm saying? Supportive. That's really it. It ain't, to me, the list isn't long. Like, I don't even really put money on the list for me.
all right. What about you, T? What's a high value woman for you?
And bruh hit it right on the head. Everything he said was what we've been saying the whole time. Like, we don't care about your money. We don't care about your degrees. We don't care about none of that stuff. You can be a regular woman just chilling. You know what I'm saying? You don't have to have all that. Long as you are supportive, you my biggest cheerleader. You know what I'm saying? You are, like he said, able to be led, cooperative, friendly, so nice. You know what I'm saying? Like, not all that nagging, argumentative, no masculine energy. Find power in your femininity. You know what I'm saying? That's all we ever want. We don't want all that extra stuff that people try to place on themselves to make themselves feel good. When they don't, they're doing that for them. You know what I'm saying? You're doing it for yourself. You're not doing it for the man.
Andros, what is your definition of a high value woman?
Let me preference what I'm gonna say. When it comes to Kevin Samuels, we have to keep in mind he's an image consultant, and so his
What's
whole
the question was, what is your
No, I know. I'm saying that because of how he views high value women.
What is your definition of a high value woman for you?
I agree with Marcus and T, but I'm going to at least go off of the fact that I would like them to be ambitious and have goals. For me, I'm gonna go and say that, you know what I'm saying, like be able to do something, because I don't want to feel like that she is like strictly like relying on me. You know what I'm saying? That's just me personally.
So I didn't feel like I needed to say that, bro. You know what I'm saying? I didn't feel like I should have to. You know what I'm saying? That should be known. Like, of course, we don't want no lazy chick. You don't want no liabilities.
Yeah, of course.
A woman's supposed to supplement.
So she could be ambitious and broke.
No, of course.
No, not ambitious and
Y'all
broke.
said money don't matter. Y'all said money don't matter.
It doesn't. But
I'm gonna be honest. Listening to them, some of them not telling the truth, because there's a couple things that was missed.
I ain't with yet,
It's not our time yet. Go ahead.
I was waiting. Come on, Swift, because I'm waiting on somebody.
It's not our time yet. Go ahead, Joss. Continue.
No, that's what I was saying. Like, I mean, like just being ambitious. Like, I don't like for like Sheila. She's a pharmacist and all that kind of stuff. Like, would you have goals? My thing is to have goals and have aspirations. Now, sometimes that does equate to you being six figure or her being six figure, and then sometimes that equates to her maybe being a little bit less than me. So that's just me though.
Okay, go ahead,
Go ahead,
Mr.
Slick.
Dr. Ward.
So let me preface this by saying two things. Number
He's
one,
so annoying, bro. He's so
what I wanted in my 20s is not what I want now.
facts.
And number two, I'm not a high value man. I'm a medium value man. With that being said, I want everything everybody else, you supportive, my cheerleader, feminine, all that. But you got your own money. I would rather two people making six figures than one person making six figures because that's better for the household and better for what I plan for my life. So if you're not making something comparable to me, then I can't be with you. I can't. I'm just being honest.
That's it.
But
I mean,
everything
So in your point, money does matter. So in your point, money does matter.
oh, absolutely.
Okay, because some of y'all were saying that money don't matter when it comes to a woman.
it
But
does.
for you, it does matter.
Well, in the general scheme of things, for what a man wants in his woman,
I'm only
money
talking
is not at the
about-
top. I know you're talking about me, but in generally speaking, at the top of the list, money is not in this. We want those characteristics of a supportive, feminine woman, right? But for me, because I know where I'm going in my life, you're not spending all my money. You gotta have your own money. So,
And that's fine.
That's
I feel like that's very fair. So Jasmine and Dr. Liddell. Jasmine is married. Dr. Liddell is not married. Dr. Liddell, what do you want? What is your high value man? What does that look like for you? And Miss Dr. Love, I said Dr. Love, Miss Love from Cockfield. What does a high value man look like in your realm? I know you're married, but play along.
hold on. Let me
What?
say this. I see the comments. We are not body shaming. There are some beautiful.
What is he saying?
I just want to put it out there. Because you are not fit does not mean you are not a high value, a great woman. But yeah, we are not.
Listen, if you know men, we always talk about the weight women. You know what I'm saying? We always talk about the overweight women and say that they have the best in, you know what I'm saying? I'm sorry.
Let me put T on mute.
I'm sorry.
Dr. Liddell, what is your high value man? Hey, Justin Spencer, I haven't heard from you in forever.
CB.
It's gonna sound redundant as like the men because often I will say them. Let me preface my thing. I'm not the normal person, I guess. I'm not the majority. I'm the minority, and it's my preference. I don't have to have a person that makes six figures. I just don't. Money doesn't matter to me. Now, I'm not saying that you can walk up and make $20,000 a year, like. But I'm just saying, I don't. You don't. Six figures doesn't matter to me. But supportive, understanding, loyal, like just somebody that's going to always be there, help, whether it be mentally, whether it be take out the trash, do many things around the house, like working with your hands, being able to do things that's important.
So that's your high value man. So your high value man is what? If you could give me 3 specifics, what your high value man is? What does he consist of?
Supportive, blue collar. That's really, I don't really have it. That's really it.
We're gonna have to talk after this live, sis. We need some more clarity.
I can't get because I'm not you can't be funny, you can't be ugly, like that's clear.
Okay, that's important. Like, so he needs to be attractive.
Ugly,
You don't have to be blue collar. You can be blue and white.
You may not be ugly. Like you may think something.
I call him picturable. He got to be picturable. Like you can take a picture of him and you don't be embarrassed.
Oh,
A picture,
okay.
picturable.
Picturable. He definitely.
Okay, Jasmine. What about you? What's a high value man?
Samuel Cockfield. But anyway,
That's
so as I was saying,
right.
So shout out to my husband. But no, so here it is, right? So for me, a high value man is a man who has ambition, a man who is God-fearing, because I have heard no one say anything about that, because for me, value is part of your morals. I need you to be God-fearing, ambitious. I need you to be secure in yourself. I need you to have healed yourself. And I need you to be understanding of me and where I am in life and where I want to go next. And then I also need you to understand, like, how to put it down.
It makes sense to me.
Did she say?
That's it. Let's be honest. High value. Nobody has said anything about that, right? Nobody talks about that. But part of the value in that, nobody said anything about that.
I'm a man, so I feel like anything I want my woman to do sexually, I can show her. I can't say the same for women because it's a little different.
But Kevin Samuels talks about he talks about that is an integral part of marriage. It is an integral part of relationships. That's it.
It is.
It's important. Yeah,
I agree with that. I mean, but from a man's perspective, I mean, me, I can, if I wanted to look this way or bent that way, I'm gonna tell you that. So I didn't really a lot of, like you said, God fearing. I didn't bring it up because
that's a given.
Yeah, to me, that shit is
right.
given.
And I know, but I wanted to make sure that when she asked for me, that
I
he was literally at the top of my list. Like I wouldn't have married my husband had he not been God fearing. Right? That just it is what it is.
So Brandon made a point. About hey, what did he make a point about? Brandon made a point, and it was just really good. And I just wanted to talk about it.
I made several points. I'm not sure which one you.
It was not all of them was really good. Dang it, I'm gonna have to come back to. So to the women, because some of the people that specifically women in the comments are saying, okay, I'm really confused on what men want. So we're gonna step away from Kevin Samuels and we're gonna just talk about even though men are not monolithic. We understand that men are not monolithic. We understand that all men don't think alike. What are, to my single women on here, to the women who wants to be married, or because let's be clear, everybody don't want to be married. And I need us to get away from everybody don't want a man, everybody ain't trying to get married. But for the women who are trying to get married and want a man of value, I'm not going to put high value, I'm going to say a man of value and moral. How should she present herself to the world to get a man of value?
So, Quiz, remember I told you, women, everybody gotta know their lane.
Marcus, you said so much. You can't just say, remember what I told you. I don't it's a lot.
People have to know their lane. Like,
That's
men and women, you have to know your lane. You can want a man that makes $500,000 a year. That doesn't mean a $500,000 man would want you.
That's fair.
A man, you might want a woman that makes six figures. You might want a beautiful woman, but a beautiful woman does not want you. It's nothing wrong with preference, though.
But can we be honest? The Swiss point earlier that what you were looking for in your early 20s or while we were at
that's what it was. That's what it was.
So I'm being honest. No, can we talk about that, right? So like what I was looking for at 19, 20, 21 is totally different if I was to happen to be now on the dating scene, right? At 31, right? Right? Like now that most of us are in our careers, making decent money, right? Let's be honest. Most of us are now going to be considering, well, they're going to be on my life insurance policy. They're going to be on my benefits. You know, I might have to make them the carrier for my 401k if something happens. This is big life stuff. This is not, oh, he cute, he handsome, he can put it down. No, this is like, is he going to make sure that my mama gets something out of my life insurance policy?
Or my kids taken care of with a trust.
Correct, right? So now we're not talking about just, oh, he look good when we go out. You know what I'm saying? He put it down. No, like this is big stuff. So what I look for at Jackson State is not, if I was single now, is not what I would be looking for.
I will hope so that you grow, right? Like,
right.
I mean, some people they don't, but Jasmine's right. Like, that's what you should be doing.
Right.
Everybody doesn't look at life that way.
And to me that's not high value. Like to me, that part is to me is not high value. If you lack self-awareness, because self-awareness is super important to me. If you are not aware of oneself and what makes you tick, what are your strengths, what are your weaknesses, what are your areas of improvement? If you're not aware of oneself in those moments, to me that's not a high value man. A high value man knows who he is. Frontwards, backwards, and of course you're constantly evolving as a person. But you know who you are. You know what your moral compass is. You have your life statement. You live by that. You strive by that daily. To me, that's value. When you lack self-awareness, I don't want to even date somebody that have not been to therapy. Me personally, if you have never been to therapy, we can't even.
But again, that's at 31, right, or 32, right?
You not worried about therapy at Jackson State on.
No, but that's what I'm saying, right? Like
we're talking about like right now. Of course, hopefully that you evolve more. But if you're a man that you've never been to therapy, you never even like, hey, let me start looking at.
Everybody doesn't have like.
I can't.
So what is this? Something that he needs to go to therapy.
This is Class talking, Dr. Ward. This is Class talking. This is my preference. And because I take my therapy so seriously, and my friends are in therapy, I just find it very imperative that therapy is a part of, even if you don't go daily or weekly or whatever, you have gone at some point, because there are just some things in our lives that we have not dealt with. You just sweep around and you just learn how to operate around. And that's what is imperative.
Everybody should be in therapy, right?
I
Lord have mercy.
I want to hit on Marcus's point, and I think it ties into what you guys are talking about now. Is we have to realize what lane we in, and I think the older we get, the more we realize what lane we in. Like Marcus said, like you can't be in, or like Swift said, you can't be in the medium value man lane and want a high value woman. You know what I mean? Or you have to be realistic with what you want. And I think with time and age, that more realistic thought process comes into play. And you know what I'm saying? Because you get out of this notion that's saying, okay, like, because when we're younger, we have this already preconceived notion of what we want our significant other to look like. And then, like Swift said, when I got older, when we get into our 30s, now it's like, okay, now I'm giving you a more realistic view and approach to how I want my significant other to look like. So that's when it comes to me. So that's how the age looks. So it's like I'm more realistic about my self-awareness, as they're saying in the comments, and then also knowing who and what I can go after and what's more realistic for me. So it's like I can't go after. I know for me, I can't go after the supermodel, the Instagram supermodel. You know what I'm saying? Because they're looking for the NBA player, football player. You know,
be realistic, Dr. Ward. Be realistic. They might be
Hold on. He can go after them because you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. They don't mean they're gonna go for you.
Also know the shots.
It's like a walking contradiction. We just said about being in our lanes and knowing where you are. If you think you're really a 6.
But they don't mean they're gonna shoot my shot at Bria Miles. What?
Wait, okay, so Ernest said a comment, right?
Wait, hold on, Ernest said.
I want to address that.
Hold on 1 second, Jess. Let me find it. Okay, I got it. Go ahead.
So what happened to finding someone you were compatible with and building a life together? That's cute in your 20s.
That's cute, but what?
In your 20s.
Mm-hmm.
But we're saying that once you get to 30 and above, if you're still not married,
but you're still compatible though. I get what you're saying, Jazz, but I think you still are finding someone you're compatible with if you're looking for someone in your lane. Like it's still compatibility. It's just a type of compatibility.
But you're gonna be also now. I have some friends, right, who had all of these standards when they were in their late 20s. In their late 20s, they had all these standards.
Right.
Now that they 31, 32, the standards then kind of started to
shorten.
Slip on down. Like at one point, she was like, I don't want a man who got kids. Now she got one that got a chunk. I don't want a man who's not over 6 foot. Now she's kind of changing that tone. You know, like, I mean, there are people who in your late 20s are like, this is what I want, this one. And then when you hit 33, 32, you know, now Sequez, you may be different. Right? Oh, thank you, John. I am married. But Sequez, you may be different, right? But again, the point is that most women, once they get to a certain age, some of them 6 foot Idris Elba looking dudes, that standard
But
drop.
do you believe that comes with the realization that I may never get the Idris Elba nigga? You feel
That's
me?
what I'm saying. Is that a standard drop, or is that understanding where you are?
Right.
It's a standard drop. It's more so like understanding where we are in society right now. Like,
correct.
The probability of that's not happening is slim. So let me be more open.
Correct. But the thing is that at 21, when that metabolism different, that body different, you know, I mean, let's be honest. You thinking you the baddest thing walking on the yard, you graduate, you get into the real world, you get behind that desk, you put on some weight. You know what I'm saying? Your life changes, right?
Yes.
So that you're not walking, you're not doing it. So all of that means that you change some of your standards. So my friend who now is in a relationship, she's in a relationship with a man who has a son. She's in a relationship with a man who's under 6, you know, who's under 6 foot. But she's happily in love, right? It is what it is. Your standards drop because you know if you want to be happy and be married, you gonna have to calm some of that shit down.
Okay, so let's stop right there because I had the conversation with Jasmine and Brandon, the medium value man, the other day on Friday after their show, Brothers Vent 2 every Friday. Check it out. And it made me want to ask a question to the audience. Do you approach marriage as on love, or do you approach marriage as a contract? And I want to hear from the people everybody on here, and I also want to hear from people in the comments. Do you base a marriage on love, or do you approach marriage on love, or do you approach marriage as a contract? Me personally, I approach marriage as a contract. But for everybody else, Marcus, stop laughing. But for everybody else, how do you approach marriage? Is it on love as the focal point or contract? Not both assuming that's cheating. Go ahead. I'm gonna start with how my camera is set. So I'm gonna go with Jasmine, then medium value man, then Andros, then Marcus, T, and Dr. Liddell. And I also want to see the people in the comment section.
Again, I'm going back to the age part, and I said this earlier. I'm going to say it again over and over. At 21, I based it on love. At 31, I'm basing it on a contract. Flat out as period.
That's true.
Okay. And I think I brought this up again, but like what Jazz said, when I was 21, 22, 23, it was who I was in love with at the time. This is who I could probably get married to. But now I have things that I want to go in my life. So we got to make a contract. Like if it works, if it doesn't work, what are we doing? This is prenup agreement, so on and so forth. So yeah, contract for me.
Contract. Let's call it. Let's be clear. Even though we're saying contract, it doesn't mean that love is not a part of the contract. It's a part of it. It's still a part of it. But you're coming in from more of a logical standpoint and not an emotional standpoint. That I want to be really clear on what we mean by contract. Go ahead, Andros.
That's a tough question. I need some time. I'll pass it off to Dr. Liddell.
Marcus, would you approach, if you was a single man, would you approach marriage as a contract, or would you approach it as love? Is he talking?
I think his Wi-Fi went out.
I can't say. Can I give a ratio?
No, you either going to approach it as a contract, or you're going to approach it as love.
That's tough because I don't want to marry somebody that I'm not in love with. I don't give a damn.
That's not what we said when we mean contract.
Add to me or none of
you
that.
You can love in a when we say contract, you do not mean. You breaking up really bad, Marcus. If you're talking, until Marcus get it together, go ahead.
Can we? I'm sorry. Can I get from me? Can I get
understanding?
More understanding of the definition of contract.
When we talk about contract, it's more so understanding that we're coming together in a space where we know that money is imperative. We know that like finance is imperative. We know love is a part of it too, because I do love you. We understand the severity of what we're stepping into. And so money is a part of it, but it is not the whole thing. It needs to make sense. It needs to be smart. It needs to be strategic. Do you align with who I want to be? Can you bring me further along in life? That's what I mean by contract. Are you approaching it as a contract understanding? Prenup can also be a part of that contract. Is there an understanding of contract versus love, where it's like I'm in love with him, so no matter what, or I'm in love with her, no matter what, this is who I want to spend my life with, and we'll figure out the rest as we go along.
And I think to add on to that, I think when you are marrying without a contract, you are marrying with the expectation that this is who you're going to spend the rest of your life with, no matter what. But when you're approaching with that contract mindset, is okay. Let me look at every scenario. Let's plan this out in the event it does not work out.
Yes.
Hey, so Swift, as the man that's been married since I was 25, bro, that shit don't work.
What don't work? What don't work?
The
love or the contract?
Trying to plan it out.
Well, I wouldn't say plan it out.
He said the planning part. Yeah, you can't really plan the shit because I don't. It's rough, bro. It's not some shit that's gonna be. I mean, I've never heard of the happily ever after. You know what I'm saying? I've been married since I was 25, and when I was 25, like y'all said, what I wanted and what I looked at is definitely a lot different now that I'm about to be 32. But I definitely loved my wife first, and as we got older, both of our mentalities changed. We both of us matured, so we decided this is what we're gonna do from here. We're gonna do this how we're gonna do this. Trying to have a straight line plan or say this is what it's gonna be. Shit happens. So that's kind of hard to. That's why I said, can I do a ratio? Because I wouldn't.
No, you can't do a ratio. Tracy said contract. Your wife said contract. I'm just saying. I ain't trying to yes you. I'm just saying.
I mean, it's right here. I want to, but I want to say contract too, but I don't want it to be like that's it though. You get what I'm saying? Like I don't.
No, because love is still a part of it. I want to emphasize that you still love the person. It's still a huge part, but you coming in with the understanding like, okay, because especially now that we're in our 30s, all of us are in our 30s at least. We understand life more than we did when we was 25, 24. So when I understand like, okay, now that I am in my career, I understand what obligations I have. I understand what I need as in a partner. I love you, yes, but I'm in love with you, yes. But do I need to marry you? Would that make sense to marry you?
And let me add on to that too, because like I said, I'm looking at
you know what I'm saying? Go ahead, Brandon.
Oh, I was gonna say, when I looked at black men and marriage rates of how many degrees they had, men that was older than 30 with at least 2 degrees, their divorce rate was less than 20%. And I think this is a large reason why, is because they're looking at a larger picture and really putting a lot of thought into who they are marrying and spending the rest of their life with. But that's all I want to say.
Contract, because you weigh the pros and cons of like, does this make sense? Like, yes, because you love somebody or in love with somebody doesn't mean that you necessarily should marry them. But if you got married at 25 and you were so bright-eyed, but you was committed, so you went through the trials and all things like that. But if at 32, I'm not just marrying no anybody. It got to make sense for me personally.
I didn't marry just no anybody.
Oh, of course not, because you're my baby. Okay, period.
No, I agree. I agree. In my 30s, if I was single, I would definitely be more picky. Nothing against my wife. That's just real. I'm like you said, I understand life more. Other shit is more important. You get what I'm saying? But I definitely thought about it when I was 25. Will I say in depth? No, I didn't think about it in depth when I was 25. But now that I'm older, it makes more sense to do it that way.
Okay. What about you, T? Do you marry for love? Do you approach marriage in love, or do you approach marriage in contract?
I think that all of y'all that said contract, y'all really doing it for the wrong reasons. You know what I'm saying? Because, well, I'm probably older than all y'all. You know what I'm saying? So why would I be with somebody that and it's on the contract? I could pick anybody in the world that I want to be with. You know what I'm saying? So I need to love that person. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't have to marry anybody and have some type of agreement like you gonna do this, you gonna do that, you gonna do that. Cause I can go out and I could be single for the rest of my life and do whatever I want to do around the whole world. You know what I'm saying? So again, it ain't about a contract. You need to love whoever it is that
You can still love them. That's a
you can
part of
still
it.
you can still love them, but that should be more important because again, you have the option.
I can't relate. I'm sorry.
I'm saying you have the option. So like Cuz said, he said that he would be more picky. So okay, yeah, you can be picky. Like you can chill your whole life until you find a woman that knock you off your feet. You know what I'm saying? Cause the way y'all making it seem like, oh, we just gonna come up with something, you know, see, y'all love her a little bit, but you know what I'm saying, I really need this for my career or my stability or whatever, you know what I'm saying?
So, so if you have that mindset, if that's the mindset, then why if so you can be picky in who and how a woman, like a high value man approach a woman, but you cannot look at a marriage the same way. If there's certain criteria to reach a high value man, can there not be a certain criteria to marry said person?
Oh, no, I get what you're saying about the criteria, but again, it's 50 million women in the world that I can pick from. So love need to be on the top of that list. You know what I'm saying? I can go be with whoever I want to be with and be like, hey, we gonna do this, you gonna move in, we got you straight for the rest of your life. You know what I'm saying? Who cares?
So I'm a combat that a little bit. Love is great. That's cute.
It's real cute.
That's fantastic. But if you're not, and you don't have to love your friend. If you're not friends, that makes the difference, right?
Right.
You don't have to love your friend. There are days that marriage is not going to be A+ all the time, right? Let's be honest, right? Just like any relationship. So I am friends with my husband first. And so understandably, that contract is going to be based upon our friendship. So love is cute. That's fantastic when you 21, 22, 23, and you think you're going to ride off in the sunset and that Disney princess shit. But that ain't the end all be all. It ain't love, no.
But again, you are comfortable in your career. You could take care of yourself. You have the money that you have. You got your own thing going. So again, why would you be with a man if you don't love him?
You don't
need a man for that.
Why contract has to be no love? Why are we saying that?
I'm with you.
Because you separated them.
Right.
No. I said of how you approach it. If like it's kind of like I love you, but I love you, but should I be with you? I love you, but as an abuser, I shouldn't be in this relationship.
But to me, I'm sorry, Quiz. To me, when the reason why I'm asking that question I couldn't answer is because when you frame the question, it sounded like a business deal and more not about love. And see, that's the part that drew me back and why I couldn't understand it is because when you say love and contract, when you separated the two of them, now you're making it more so like, all right, is this a business deal or is this, you know what I'm saying, or are we doing this because I love this person?
Is it not a deal though?
What I'm saying, but we all know that love takes work. We know love takes work. But
love don't pay the bill.
They don't do love. To me personally, love is cute. It is cute,
love don't pay
but it is an emotion.
What does Brandon have as his love? Don't.
It's an emotion.
But you pay your own bills.
It's an important emotion, but does it make sense? Like
love is fickle.
Let me also add on.
Hold on. I'm sorry. Sheila didn't say hers first.
I just got a question.
No, you got to pick yours first, Sheila. Do you approach marriage?
You didn't draw me pause for a second. Let me just ask my question first. But I hear what all y'all both making great points. So I just want to just go back. So like Jayla, if you asked your parents right now, did they marry off love or a contract? What you think they would say?
Oh, they're gonna marry off love because that was a whole different generation.
Hold on. So this is a whole different type of generation. How long your parents been married?
30 plus.
I feel that they wouldn't be married those 30 plus years if it wasn't for love. And I say that with my parents. made 37 years. And I saw a lot of crap in them 37 years that I know for a fact they married on love, not contract. Because it was things that they had to learn as they went along and had to realize we need to develop a plan. We need to come together on these things as they went along.
But people fall out of love all the time. I mean, people love their divorce. People love their divorcees. That don't matter.
But also we have to understand the time that they were in, and also we have to look at that love is still sustainable. Like love can keep you there in the contract, but it's a part of the contract. Like
you're saying, love can never have a contract. Love can never have a contract, but contract gotta have love. That's what you're saying.
Here come Ernest. Oh God.
Oh, you know about
because I'm like Mark. I'm like Josh Moore, like it's hard to pick one between the other because I keep hearing y'all say if you got a contract you're gonna have love, but you're not saying
no. I'm speaking for myself. We're saying that in totality there are different parts that is going to play in this marriage. Love is going to be a huge part. It may be the core, but there are other significant parts that plays just as important. So we're not navigating away from the core value of love.
Can I ask?
But we're saying that this matters too. What is your credit score? Because when your debt is now going to become my debt, what does that look like for us? What is it's more than just love.
And to quickly add on to that, I don't want to cut you off, Marcus, but adding on to what J Love was saying, if her mother had the option now to answer that same question with her being an elected official, it would look totally different.
Totally different answer.
I'm sorry, go ahead, Marcus.
Facts. Completely 100% facts.
Her mom is a judge. I'm just pointing it out.
So
go ahead, Marcus.
Just a hypothetical question. Like we're in the contract, and when you're thinking about marriage and you making this logical decision on the rest of your life with this person, I mean, hopefully that's what people get married for. Let's just hypothetically say your spouse gets into a accident and they're disabled now.
Oh my baby.
The contract then changes because this person can no longer provide the thing.
That is not true.
It is true. And you
not just say that the love is still a core.
No, that's true. He's 100% true because I've seen it happen. And love is what's gonna get you. If you the contract,
did we not just say that the love is still the core? We not just say the love is the contract matter nothing.
It's not at the core. If you're not
saying. Jasmine said.
Well,
you can love your friend, but you don't. I forgot the analogy, but she said you should marry your friend, and you don't have to.
I love you, but it needs to make sense.
I'm gonna answer the question.
If you listening, I'm gonna just let you know. We gotta have an understanding.
I'm gonna answer the question. So, if my spouse, my married partner, gets in an accident and is disabled, we made a contractual obligation and agreement. That is a agreement between two parties. Mm-hmm. So then she is on board with, or she is also helping decide what do we do moving forward. That's not a unilateral decision.
Look, 9 times out of 10 in a contract, there is a clause regarding a disability statement,
that too.
Or if something happens, or if they can no longer fulfill these duties.
It's so
y'all so impersonal, man. Where's the?
Y'all not doing that in marriage, bro. I don't believe that.
1 second. Ernest just came on. It's 1 second. Ernest just came on. Ernest, the floor is yours.
Oh my God.
It's supposed to be love.
Okay, and
I'm supposed to be a millionaire.
Say that again.
I said I'm supposed to be a millionaire. I'm joking.
I mean, it's love. Everything can go wrong in a marriage.
So love sustains all. Is that what you said? For the people who so that's the Ernest, Marcus, T, Andros, and Dr. Liddell. So for y'all, love sustains all. It sustains everything.
All I'm saying is y'all sound real impersonal. You know what I'm saying?
I don't think that sound impersonal. I think that sound
No,
realistic.
y'all sound real impersonal because you don't love man.
We're not saying we don't love our spouse.
No, we're not saying that.
No.
But if you agree to get married to someone,
You know
you
what
have
I'm saying?
already had the conversation of all the
So
agreements.
you realize when y'all sign when y'all marriage license, that's a contract, right?
Correct,
Yeah.
but that's the contract that we're thinking that you need because all the other stuff is going to come. But
So
I
you
don't
would marry someone.
somebody falling in love with somebody, and all these things that are in the contract have not been discussed. That's what I'm saying. Like, so it should. Why you just like it's already there when you're falling in love with someone, you're agreeing to marry someone. Like it's just there already. But you had love. Love is gonna, no matter what, the love is. Maybe I was just raised in a fairy tale.
My parents have been married for almost, I think they're 39 years now. Yeah, they married at love. That worked for them. My mom got married when she was 17.
For so long.
Mama got married when she was
For so
17 in a different time frame. No, 19, I'm sorry, not 17, 19. At a different time frame than we are now. When we understand everything that comes along, that's going along, love has brought us here to the point where we're even talking about marriage. Is that not true? Like love brought us to
From a different time
love brought us to the point where we're even talking about marriage. However, at the end of the day, I have to come to understanding that if we want to move the way we want to move, we have to be mindful of our finances. If you have a horrible credit score, your debt is not my debt. So how are we going to be able to move the way we want to move and live the way that we want to live? If you was irresponsible before me, how if you have kids and you have different baby mothers, how does those kids going to impact our lifestyle the way that we want to live? Like all of those parts play a part. But Sheila, you said that you would never marry somebody that has 3 kids and 3 baby daddies. I mean, 3 different, like you said the same thing. So that also, that's not, but what if you love him? Would you still?
And there's no way for me to say I love them because I didn't even get close enough to love them.
Exactly.
Difference.
What's the point?
I'm not gonna get that far.
Yeah.
Hey, how you doing? I'm Sheila. How you doing? I got no kids. I got 3. You got 3 baby mamas. Like it's not. I love you.
Yeah.
It's
I think-
never gonna.
But to quit,
Yeah.
that's why I said. That's why I asked him,
Yeah.
can it be on a ratio? Can I ratio it? Because
Okay, what's your
I
ratio,
agree
Marcus?
with both
What's your
sides.
ratio, Marcus?
Yeah, I agree.
What's your ratio?
My ratio would probably be like 60-40, leaning
60
heavier
for who?
towards the love.
So 60 you love, 40 marriage. Marcus, if you did it, not Marcus,
I just say that because anything can happen in life. Like people lose jobs, you know. I mean, shit happens. So if I love this, if I don't love this person enough, let's say they stop making that 100,000, and we don't bring in the 200 or the 300,000 that we're bringing in anymore. If I don't love this person enough, that shit will have me looking.
But is it love, Marcus? Because what I'm hearing is commitment. I'm not like, is that love or that's commitment? Like I could love you, but am I committed to the process? So is that love? If you lose your job tomorrow and you're disabled, but I'm committed to us and to you, I'm staying. But I can still love you and be like, nah, that still don't work for me, bruh.
And also, if you love this person, you're going to do what it takes to make that person happy. That may be splitting. That may be going separate directions to give that person what they need to be happy. So it's different ways you look at that.
Now I'm really so Sheila. If you met a man and he had all Sheila and T, since y'all got your heart on your sleeves today. So if y'all met a man and he or a woman and she proposed to you or he proposed to you to say, hey, let's do a prenup. How would y'all feel about that?
I'm definitely depending on how beat.
What?
I can't hear what you're saying. You like breaking.
I definitely agree with prenups depending on when I meet the person. If I'm already $1 million nigga, then of course I need a prenup.
That's a contract. That's a contract, T. That's not love, T.
No, no, like
So
Sheila
Quinn,
said, I'm not gonna get close to a
I didn't
person
hear
that I
what
don't
you
see
said.
potential in, that I don't love. Like, it's not gonna even go there. We're not even gonna talk about marriage at all.
Okay. All
Marriage
right.
is a commitment, though. Marriage
But
is a
by law,
commitment.
it's a contract.
I had
Maybe
got
it's
kicked
not
out.
data analytics
I had
brain
got
that's
kicked
coming
out,
to
so
the
I didn't really hear
forefront.
what you were saying.
Huh? Sheila,
Marriage is
I was
supposed to
saying
be a spiritual
I had
thing,
got
though.
kicked
So
out, so I didn't.
it is a spiritual thing
yeah.
too. We
So
we
you
can't be
so when you're looking at the money side, you're looking at all these other aspects.
okay,
I
y'all go.
mean, you might as well not get married. You might as well stick to being single.
And I said the same thing, bro.
That's cute.
You might as well. Hey, look, all that's cute, the money cute and all that, but when that's gone, you want to
What
throw
you
me away.
need?
You might as well be single. The money could come and go. Money could be gone.
But
Your career could be gone.
no one is focusing on money, and I think like that's what is getting misconstrued. Nobody's just saying money is the core. Love brought us here, but
Well,
we
a
also need
contract.
to be mindful of what is going to keep us here. Okay, let's move forward. So now that we have an understanding of that, there's a lot going on in the comments. People, of course, did y'all see anything that caught your eye in the comment section? I see Justin talking. I see Tiffany, Amira. I can't keep up. So to close, to come to a closing, what we can understand is that not everybody thinks the same, right? Not everybody thinks the same. We can understand that at the end of the day, what I feel personally that what I want to go do is go around and I want everybody to tell me what they feel is the biggest breakdown between Black women and Black men when it comes to in like relationships, when it comes to us coming together as a collective, as a unit. What is the biggest breakdown? That's how we're gonna close this.
Can we go in reverse order?
We're gonna start. Okay, we're gonna start with Sheila, and we're gonna end with me. So Sheila, we're gonna start with you. What is the biggest breakdown between Black men and Black women, and why we can't quote unquote get it together?
You on mute?
Yeah, if you're talking, Sheila, you or she just thinking.
I mean, all I said was but since I gotta go first. That
was Brandon's idea. I'm just saying.
I mean, I know I'm not gonna hold it against your place. The biggest breakdown between Black men and Black women is I think that we don't trying to figure out how to words. I don't feel like we see each other at the value as that we should. And when I say that, I mean is women don't value men. Black women don't value men in the same way they try to value themselves. Women, we try to feel like we're on this high pedestal, we're on this high caliber, but we don't think men are the same. And I think men do the opposite. So I feel like because of that, I mean, not the opposite, but the same thing in their own retrospect. We're not seeing that we both could be on the same level. That's just what I think.
Okay.
What was the second part of your question?
No, the whole question was, what do you feel is the biggest breakdown between Black men and Black women? So to hinder us coming together.
I thought that was something else.
No, that's it for right now. Okay, T, what about you? What is the biggest breakdown?
The biggest breakdown I feel is that men can't be men. You know, anytime a man is a man, they try to, call you toxic when you have opinions that don't align with some of the stuff, because this is kind of like a female ran world. You know what I'm saying? As far as Black America is a female ran world. Big Mama is the main person in the family. The mothers are the main people in the family. Of course, we know systematic racism, justice, all that. We could talk about that all we want to. You know what I'm saying? But again,
T
women
stresses me out.
women are losing femininity and losing their place in the household because they are raised to be strong, independent women. It's not their fault that they are raised to be that way. But again, that's where the breakdown comes because when you get a man that really wants to be a man and lead his family, it's an issue with some black women, not all black women, but some black women have an issue with letting a man be a man.
Oh, okay, T, you got to come back on the next episode because we're gonna have an episode like that with Tiffany, Tiffany Braxton. If y'all see her acting up in the comment section, we have a next episode about that. So I'm gonna need you to hold that because me, Sheila, and every other woman on this comment is about to have a whole heart attack.
Hey, I've been trying to come for the last how many?
No, you've been trying to collect percentages, bro.
I need my 15%, but appreciate y'all.
Ernest, what do you think is the biggest breakdown between black women and black men?
Value and communication.
Value and communication. Okay.
We don't value each other like other races do.
Mhm.
We don't communicate love the same way everybody else communicate love. We'll curse each other out and call it love. We'll demean each other and call it love. We'll just use all the wrong words instead of love. One of the things, like he said, we don't let the men lead. We devalue the black man. We always say there's no good black men, but I see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 good black men. Don't roll your eyes, Shaquille, because it's true. But the same for black women.
For what they are, they ain't all that.
The same for black women. As men, we demean black women. We put them down, we degrade them. So I think it's just the value and communication. We don't communicate well, and we don't value each other enough.
Okay, respect. What about you, Mr. Marcus? What's the biggest breakdown between black women and black men in regards to relationships?
I would say with the communication, understanding, and accountability, because you can talk all day, but if that person doesn't understand their spouse or the person that they're dealing with, y'all just talking at that point, and both of y'all gonna do what y'all want to do regardless. So I would say accountability and understanding each other, holding each other accountable. That's one part of it, and men also holding themselves accountable for how they treat their woman, and vice versa, women holding themselves accountable for how they treat their man.
All right, I respect that. Good point. What about you, Andros? What's the biggest breakdown between black men and black women?
I think for me, the biggest breakdown is like what Marcus said, is understanding and communication. And I think the reason I say understanding is because a lot of times we go into these situations with a fixed mindset and not trying to hear or understand where the other side is coming from and trying to find a middle ground. For me, I think relationships is about that middle ground. You know what I'm saying? You coming from one side, I'm coming from the other side. So we have an understanding of what you're thinking. I have an understanding of what you're thinking, and let's meet here. But then communication is, black people are not communicating how we feel. We're not communicating what's going on. You know what I mean? And so that's just me.
Okay. Dr. Ward?
Let me first say,
oh my God,
Eureka Miggs, I'm going to disagree. We are not all kings and queens. There are some black people that are absolutely trash.
Correct.
But as far as the breakdown between black men and black women, I think it all boils down to black women are not finding an alpha beta man. So
I'm not doing it on this show.
Hold up.
You hear that on every Friday. This ain't my show, Squid, but I'm still thank you.
I'm moving from the stream. Jasmine, what is the breakdown between black men and black women?
Best friend, you done?
I'm done. I'm gonna be serious this time. I'm gonna be serious. I'm gonna go first. I'll let Jazz go last. I know she got a lot. It's gonna be heavy for Jazz.
Go ahead.
So I'm just gonna echo what Ernest, Marcus, and T has said. Communication. Most of the time, it's communication because Black women don't receive well what Black men say they want or what they want in a woman.
Mhm.
And when we do say certain things, we can get counseled for it. So we try to hold it all in, but it needs to be let out what we want in our partner. And Black women need to understand what Black men say they want and not bash them for it. Huh?
I'm sorry, I'm looking at T's thing, and I'm like, oh, that's nice. But go ahead,
Oh,
I'm listening.
oh yeah, he out there building something.
That's nice.
Just communication, understanding is the biggest piece, but a lot of it gets lost in translation and social media message pushing and
Mhm.
marketing because Black men and Black women marry at like an 85% rate. So it's not like we're doing bad.
Right.
That's not true.
Right.
We are doing pretty well off. But when it comes to that 15% or those that don't marry at all, it's a lot deeper than communication and socialization. It has a lot to do with government and politics too. But I think the biggest piece is communication.
Communication.
Yeah.
Okay. What about you, Jay Luffield?
All right, this conversation got really hard for me. I'm gonna be honest. There were some moments where I was like, exposure is a hell of a drug. I'm gonna be honest. Other cultures do things very differently than we do. They, the white women go to college looking for a husband. Period. That is just what it is, which is what Kevin Samuels talk about. The biggest disconnect to me between Black men and Black women is that Black men need to start having the conversations that they have in the barbershop with the women they're with. Because if we're going to say that Black men talk to their barbers as therapists, whatever you're talking about to your barber, bring that home to your wife, to your girlfriend, whoever. Because whether or not it's this new secretary or this new person at the gym or whatever is happening,
Right.
she's giving you something that it is. So instead of talking to your barber about it, bring it home to the person that you're with. Because again, y'all are as open and transparent as you are in the barbershop, but we can't get that same transparency. So I think the biggest disconnect between Black men and Black women as a whole, bring home what you're talking about in the barbershop.
Come on, Jasmine. Go ahead, Brandon.
And
That's vice versa.
Fatima said, so where's the accountability on the other side? And like Jazz said, we as Black men do need to do a better job of communicating the issues that we see or the lack of our part in the relationship to our Black women. I agree. But most of the time when we do it, it's not received well, from what I've been heard or what I've been told. It hasn't been. So
But the truth hurts, and most women like myself and others, and the ones who've been in the comments, will accept it. And if the truth hurts, we'll accept it. We've heard we need to lose weight. We've heard we need to take the bonnets off in public. We've heard we need to stop wearing so much weave. We've heard we need to do X, Y, Z, go to school. We've heard we need to give sloppy toppy. We need to have kids. We need to do this. We need to do that. All of that is great, but it's really time for y'all to start saying those same things that you're talking about with your barber when you come home.
And I can agree with that, but like I said, we may talk about this afterwards, me, you, and Sequoia's again. And I'm gonna just leave it at that.
Okay, so you want to say? Go ahead, Mark. You want to say something?
Yeah, I was going to agree with Jasmine. That's what I'm. That's part of the accountability part of it. We definitely got to be more transparent about our feelings and our do's and our likes and dislikes in the relationship. That's an uncomfortable conversation for a lot of men because how women receive it. Now it's you and like my wife has told me that many a time before. Like, you know what I'm saying, you tell your friends shit that you should tell me. And it's like, I don't know how you'll respond to me telling you this particular thing, or I feel like this. I don't know. I don't want to hurt your feelings by being too honest. So, but you're right, though, we definitely.
No, you've got to do it because otherwise we're going to continue this cyclical cycle that has been in our communities for years and years. There's stuff my father probably has not told my mother that he told his barber, right? It is what it is. If we don't continue this level of transparency, which is, again, to go back to Kevin Samuels, which is what he's talking about, the accountability, the transparency, the things that he says, the reason why Black women are so appalled by it is because y'all haven't been saying it.
Okay, I do want to say this though. It's like, you want to say something to you?
I just want to say that we need people like you to have our back when we say this stuff, and so when we're getting attacked, you can come in and kind of smooth it over for us. Like, well, you know, that's his truth. That's his truth. You know, we need the women to come to our defense, because every time we say something, it ends up being an issue. You know what I'm saying?
Correct. And I believe that Black women have this issue with not being able to accept the truth. I will say that. There are times that we have really, really hard problems with accepting the truth. But one thing about a sister, when it was time to be out there for George Floyd, when it was time to be out there, we were there. Where were Black men for Breonna Taylor?
Mm-hmm. So this, I want to start right here. So I agree. There's a lot of women that I respect opinions. Like, I like these type of conversations. Like, we can have it all day. I think it's telling the truth to women is like a muscle that you have not worked on. Eventually, for the first time, it's gonna hurt. It's gonna sting. It's gonna feel uncomfortable. It's gonna might be a negative reaction. But as you continue to have those real conversations, eventually it's gonna stick, right? So, and again, like the people that's in the comment, it's not what you say, it's how you say it. And if you come into me in love, like, yo, da 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 da, then she might be more accepting to what you have to say. And I do think it is it's a time and a place to have those conversations. If you want to be truthful and you try to blurt out truth to hurt me, because we having a banter back and forth, you're not about to get the reaction if we was just actually sitting down and chilling. So what happened yesterday, which I really loved, I was on the phone with Marcus' wife, and it was just a real organic conversation, and I was able to hear what Marcus said, even though we didn't agree on, but actually did agree on quite a few things. But even though we wasn't always on the same page, I can accept that because it was a real, honest, organic conversation. But if you're trying to spew out your views just to try to antagonize me, you're going to get a negative reaction every single time. But like Jackson said, if we start really having these conversations in a real safe space where you can tell us what you really want to say, I think you will be surprised at the response that you would get every single time.
I agree with you, Sequez, and I believe that Black men, I think that this is part of our trauma. Mm-hmm. The reason that we've withheld emotions and our real feelings for so long is because it starts even with the little boy on the playground, right? Like, if a little boy is running and he scuffs his knee, the daddy or the mama is going to tell him, oh, wipe those tears, boys don't cry. Like, I think it starts at that level, right? Like, let's be honest. Now, Ernest, I adore Ernest for this. Ernest told me that he allows Lil E, like, to have emotions. You know what I'm saying? And I appreciate that. We had that conversation. But most men, the men we grew up with, they didn't do that. So now Ernest is training Lil E to be able to have emotions, to be able to talk to his woman.
Lil E is his son. I don't know.
Yeah, so I'm just saying, so for that, right, like, we've got to realize that, like, what we were taught was wrong. And again, now I will say this, we grew up in an era where mental illness and therapy were stigmatized and ignored. Now that we're going, we've got to give our parents and grandparents some grace.
And that's what I want to talk about mine. So I feel like my breakdown between Black men and Black women is the fact that we don't extend enough grace. Mm-hmm. I feel if we come to an understanding of, hey, bro, bae, whoever, like, this is where you are, this is where I am, and we are both self-aware to know where we are, I can meet you where you are. Just like our parents did the best that they can in the situation that they was in. But now that I've gone to therapy, now that I have a self-awareness about myself, all I can say is, like, mom did the best that she could. Dad did the best that they could. And they extend them the grace. They may not have been perfect, but they did the best they could, and I could extend that grace. I feel like we lack grace and understanding. Like there are men are dealing with a lot of Black men specifically are dealing with a lot of issues outside of just relationships. Black women are dealing with a lot of issues just outside of relationships. So I come with my issues and you come with your issues, and you automatically assume that just because you're a man, I like you, and I'm a woman and you like me, we automatically going to align and it's going to be perfect. I feel like you're setting yourself up for failure every single time. So I feel like the biggest breakdown is that we don't extend each other grace, personally. So now I see the comment section lighting up. So now we're going to come to the end of the champagne conversation. So what we're going to do is a champagne toast. And if you know about the champagne toast or you don't, the champagne toast is basically we're going to go around the room and we're going to talk. We're going to say one thing that you took away from this conversation, because we just don't want to have these conversations and just let it die here. We want it to go on. So when you take it away, you leave from this show, it's something that you can think on and gnaw on. So we do a champagne toast and you say what you learned and we cheers to you. I drunk all my cocktails, so I'm gonna share an empty glass, but here nor there. So we're gonna start with Jasmine and we're gonna end with T. Since Jasmine and Andros are in Brandon out and Ernest, you know how it goes. Y'all can kind of set the tone for Sheila, Gwen, and Gwen, Marcus, Gwen, Marcus, and T. Okay, so go ahead, Jasmine. What's your champagne toast for the night?
Black men need to have accountability, just like Black women are having their accountability moments, right? Black men need to take home what they say at the barbershop to the women they're with. And the Black women who are listening to them speak need to give them the grace and space to be able to do that. That's my champagne toast.
Cheers, Jazz.
Cheers.
Drosy, what's your champagne toast for the night?
I think mine is men being more open and vulnerable. But when we do, we need to sharing how we feel. But when we share it with love, and make sure that love is at the root of what we're saying, and making sure. But then, like Jazz said, making sure women are being more acceptable and hearing and understanding of where we're coming from, so that we can gain a better sense of the Black family and moving forward.
Cheers, Jossie. Dr. Liddell, what's your champagne toast for the night?
My champagne toast would be one: women need to hold us women accountable. We just more in the sense of when it comes to Black men. And also women need to really truly listen to men instead of trying to make them say what they're like, listen to what they're really saying. No matter how simple it may be, just listen and take that.
Cheers. Dr. Swift, what's your champagne toast for the night?
Okay, so y'all don't talk about me. I try to drink a gallon of water a day, so
You two was drinking alcohol?
Get fit.
He was.
But basically reiterating, I think that we as a Black people need to listen for understanding and not listen to react and get our point across, and try to be as healthy as possible. And I don't mean just physically healthy. I mean in all aspects of life, be healthy and make sure that it carries over to our spouse, and don't let someone else dictate what your happiness looks like for you, whether it be social media, Kevin Samuels, your friends. Your happiness is your happiness, and you have to live with it. But overall, just listen for understanding and not listen to react to whoever you're dating or having sex with or whatever the case may be. That's all.
Cheers. Marcus, what's your champagne toast for the night?
My champagne toast would be to Black men and women respecting each other a little bit more than we do. Showing accountability for both parties' actions in a relationship, and being able to listen to how the other person feels. If your woman says you made her feel this way, even though you didn't think you did something wrong, recognize it and accept it. Apologize. Same thing for the Black men as well. or the black women, if your man tells you he feels a certain way, listen and accept it. And try to compromise, like Andrew said, meet in the middle.
Okay. All right. Cheers. Ernest, what's your champagne toast for the night?
I was late with everything, so mine would be love, respect, and accountability. Say what you say with love, respect what anybody's opinion, what they say, and that's it.
Okay. Cheers to you, Marcus. And T, what's your champagne toast for the night?
I think my first champagne toast would be just kind of happy that everybody on the panel respects everyone having standards. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's okay to have standards and to hold our people accountable. Not women, not men, just black people in general. I think that we should all, at the end of the day, want the betterment of our people and hold them to a standard. My second champagne toast is I appreciate y'all letting me come on finally. I need my 15%. You know what I'm talking about? And y'all need to bring me in the future. I appreciate y'all.
Don't ignore T. Cheers to you, T. My champagne toast is the fact that we can all come together with difference of opinions and really have a real conversation. And I just hope that what we discussed today just don't stop here. I hope that you have these conversations with your homeboys, your homegirls, bring more enlightenment to the conversation so that we can be better overall. Because at some point, it got to be better than what we got. Like at some point, we gotta raise the bar. And I'm tired of Brandon changing his name. I'm sick of it. But at some point, we got to be better than what we are. I feel we're doing better mentally than our parents and our parents' parents and all that kind of stuff. But what are we gonna do for our kids and our kids' kids? Like we have to have some sort of standard and raising the standard so we can be better. And we may not think alike, but we have to have some sort of common ground. So that is my champagne toast. Cheers to me. So thank you again, everyone, for joining the podcast. I really, really appreciate it. Every comment, every moment we had was dope. So we shall see you next month. Brandon, what you got?
We gotta have a part 2 and bring on Fatima because
So Fatima T. I don't know if I saw Tiffany Braxton in here, but she brought up a dope idea. So we're working on a podcast that I think that T would really be good on. And it's about some misogyny. Never mind. Just know that we have some people that want to come on to the show for the next episode, and I think Mark, I think all y'all would be actually really good for it. So we're working on that. So are we saying that y'all want to be on?
Just don't cut me off when I talk about the good stuff.
What good stuff?
When you cut me earlier about the, No.
Yeah, I'm gonna cut you, and then again you about to go off. So thank you. Thank you.
Can I say that there's one person who's missing from this conversation that is obviously somebody I texted about early that I felt like would have been perfect for this conversation.
Go ahead, Jackson.
I hope we can dedicate this show to him.
Yes.
Michael Lawrence would have fit in so perfectly with this conversation. Mm-hmm. And I know he's smiling down in glory, watching, talking about all of y'all, especially T. But I know he would have been here and he would have been supportive. He would have been in the comments. He even probably
would have took our side.
He would have definitely jumped on.
He would have took our side.
Yeah, he would have been on the side of Kevin Samuels. I know he would have. I agree with that. So it is what it is. But I just wanted to shout him out even in the midst of this platform. Is this the first one we've done since his passing? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. He was such a big fan of the show, so right. I really appreciate Kevin. So thank you everyone. To my people that's online right now, stay on please. But to everybody else, thank you again so much for joining, and we shall see you next month. All right, bye.